Hello and good evening, everyone. Welcome to this week's new episode of Prime Time Gaming with Mr. Boomstick and Friends. And of course, I am your host, Mr. BoomStick XL. And folks, if you are an Xbox fan, if you are a Halo fan, and if you got a chance to play to be a part of the Flighting Part 2 that happened over this weekend, this is the podcast to start your week off strong. Everyone here got a chance to play. We all have big opinions, and the entire episode, folks, is going to be dedicated to what we've experienced, what we are expecting in the future, and a bunch of other really, really awesome Halo topics. I think that right now, Halo is the hottest conversation in social media. I got a chance to only play for a couple of hours. I didn't spend as much time on the second flighting because this weekend was my birthday and I had family over. And before we get into the introductions, I need to publicly thank my brethren that are a part of this panel and podcast each and every week. They did something for me that was so epic that happened on Fridays. Breakfast with Boom. Of course, it was Boom's birthday bash. Mrs. Boomstick and I gave away $450 worth of prizes. And thanks to this, I don't want to say it's sneaky. I want to say that it's very deceptive. KSI said, please let me go last because I have an incoming message. And if you didn't get a chance to see that message, I'm going to share it for everyone right now. Folks, it's goosebump inducing. It's something that has never been done for me. I've only been doing YouTube for 4 years, and this is obviously the nicest thing that anyone that I work with has done for me. So here we go. Let me just pause the footage for a hot second.
This is Steve Downs, the voice of Master Chief, Spartan 117. I have an incoming message coming in hot, wishing the happiest of birthdays to one of the best gaming community leaders, Double Barrel Gaming's Mr. BoomStick XL. And here's to many more. And know this, as we move forward, the possibilities, well, they're infinite. And always finish the fight. Chief out.
I mean, really.
That boy's baritone, man. Ooh,
yeah, I love it.
The baritone. Ooh.
Oh man, I don't know what to say other than I was happy to share that with everyone. If you didn't get a chance to join us or watch Friday morning's Breakfast at Boom, I cannot thank these fine gentlemen enough for the. I mean, I'm like speechless still, and I've watched it over a dozen times. I mean, obviously, Steve Downs is we're all friends, and for him to say Mr. Boomstick out of his mouth is pretty freaking cool. But let's get into the introduction so we can break down this very heavy Halo show. We're going to start first with someone that is making his third, fourth, fifth. I'm not sure. I've lost count. He is someone that is a part of this podcast.
He's just a panel member now.
I was going to say,
he's
just a panel
member. He is someone that if you're not following on Twitter, you're doing it wrong. He's a positive member of the community. He's an incredible journalist. He is a huge part of the Xbox era family and podcast that happens each and every week with John and Nick. Please welcome back OBM, One Bad Mother. How you doing, brother? How you feeling?
I am awesome, man. And I'm feeling even better after that introduction. Thank you so much. I feel like I should step back and retire while I'm on top, right? But no, thank you so much for being here, especially having me on when we're talking about Halo. You know that we do a Halo podcast every week, so this is like my jam, my topic, and Halo's been my favorite franchise for 20 years. So so this is going to be a special episode, and thanks for having me along for the ride.
Well, it's great to have you. It's definitely great to have you a part of today's show. And obviously, we're going to push you've been putting out article after article. I know you have some big ones coming out regarding Halo. We want to talk about that towards the end of the show so we can get people to take a look at your work. And I think it's worthy of people, checking out the work that you put out there. But next up, we're going to start first with Wandering Dutch. Now, Wandering Dutch, you put something on Twitter today that I want to share with the community. I thought was that excellent. The first T-shirt for your midweek mashup podcast. I mean, dude, that looked really epic, like a Viking shield, very well produced. Welcome back to the and how you been?
Yeah, really, really good. Yeah, it's Sean knocked it out of the park with us. The Viking theme that we're going for, of course, and it looks really good. Of course, we've got a couple of colours, so if people don't like the reds and oranges, you've got the greens and the blues. So it's really cool. Again, it's more of an inspiration that we needed some kind of emblem as opposed to just wording. So really knocked it out of the park with that. Look, can't wait to speak about Halo. Literally much like yourself, I didn't get to play as much of it this weekend. I played a little bit on Friday, just against bots and kind of getting used to everything, have a look at the customization, and then played pretty much from, it was the first window for us, because the second window was like ridiculously early. So for UK, the early window was 6 p.m. until 10 p.m. and the second window was 1 a.m. until 5 a.m.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, that wasn't, especially on a work night, that was just not doable.
Microsoft continuing the tradition of always screwing the Europeans, huh? What's that about?
Oh, yes. So, yeah, that's fun. But, yeah, we played for the full duration of that 6 till 10. Full squad both times. In fact, we had to kind of chop and change around the squads a couple of times each time, but it felt much better on PvP on the last play session than it did on the Friday. I think the balancing was a bit off on the Friday, but we'll get into that. But awesome to be here. Really can't wait to dig into Halo a little bit more. There was a lot of good positive stuff surrounding it.
Yeah, there certainly was. You know what? I do want to. You know what? I'm going to do it on the back end of the. Cause I don't want to waste the opportunity to talk about it. I think it's important. Dutch, you kind of know what I'm talking about. We had a loss of the very, very special member of the community. I do want to get everyone's intro, and then of course I want to talk about who we did lose over the weekend, which was extremely sad. Kay Asante, brother, thank you so much for always being here. Glad that your voice is almost at 100%. Glad you got a chance to play Halo. Like everyone, you're going to have a lot to say. Welcome back, brother.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm about, well, I'd say 80%. Still can't hit them high notes, but I'm getting there. Appreciate it.
It's Kay Asante just stands for Kermit Asante, doesn't it?
It's true. Yes. My Kermit the Frog impression is really on point these days. It's all
fantastic.
It's all good. No, but thank you guys for having me as usual. OBM, always a pleasure to have the unofficial panel member in the house. Always appreciate it. Whenever there's good Halo news, I expect to hear it from OBM because he is the definitive resource for that. You know, so it's good to have you here and the rest of the panel members. I know we're going to have a lot of fun today, so let's go ahead and get into it.
Yes, definitely. And of course, Tempest's son, the master of models, master of the headshots, and someone that I'm sure was taking down suckers over on the PvP aspect of Halo. Welcome back, brother. I can't wait to hear what you have to say.
Hey, listen, man, I wish more than anything that I would have gotten a chance to play, but I've told you guys, so I have good news. I'm going on a cruise, and best part is I ain't even paying for it. It's an anniversary gift.
Well, there you go. And your 10th anniversary at that. Congratulations.
That's it. Thank you. Yeah, but, self-employed guy, so anybody who's self-employed knows no PTO, I ain't getting paid to take a vacation, so I've been busy. But I really, really want to play it, and it looks so good, man. I just by looking at it, being kind of like an FPS enthusiast, I still have a lot to say, even though I didn't play it, but I have a lot to look forward to, I guess, right?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm going to say it live on the air right now. Halo is back, baby, and back in a big way. We're going to break that down, what that means as we continue. But of course, last and no way least, as we wait for Everborn to jump in, middle-aged gamer guy. Now we're going to actually go to him first, out of because we only have him till 8:00 today. He's got some family business that he must attend to. Yeah. How you feeling, brother?
I am awesome. You know what? Just came off of a great weekend. I'm going to be alone all week. So ladies, you know where I live. Anyways, no, my wife's working out of town and she's not back till Saturday. So it's daddy daycare all week. So I got the little ones running around. I could hear them running around upstairs right now. I'm like, guys, keep it down. I got a show going on. And it sounds like a herd of elephants is up there. So Anyhow, yes, we're gonna get into the Halo stuff. Listen, Boom, about your birthday. Listen, none of this would have happened without the architect himself, Kay Asante. He is the man who came up with the idea.
It was a group effort, man. It was a group effort. Come on now, stop it.
He's the one who he came up with the idea. He executed it. Come on, man, take credit for it, brother. It was it was him. I mean, you know,
we had a good time
ideating.
It was good. No worries. Go ahead.
but you know, I just got to give credit where credit's due. Anyhow, yes, and I know we're going to talk about him in a minute, but rest in peace to Mojo Blues. And I actually did a podcast with him just before he went in for his heart surgery.
Oh, wow.
Maybe like 2 weeks before, he was on the show with myself, Noof, and Titan. And then this, right? So anyways, we'll get into that. But anyways, guys, we got a lot of Halo to talk about tonight. Let's keep the smiles up and let's be positive and let's get right into the show.
Yes. Well, listen, before we get into the actual show, of course, I kind of want to just remember Mojo Blues. He was a very big part of this community. He has podcasted. I think he might have podcasted. I know he podcasted with me, podcasted with Mag, he podcasted with Wandering Dutch. I don't know if anyone else had a chance to work with him. He was an old school cat, just like myself, a little bit older maybe. And we lost him over the weekend. He had, like Mag had said, he had gone in for some heart surgery that appeared to be successful. And it turns out that there was obviously an issue. And unfortunately, Wandering Dutch, you let me know in our private DM that his son had reached out to you guys and said, my pop has passed. And it's a sad day in the gaming space or circles that we roll and troll in, because he was one of the good guys. He enjoyed gaming. He enjoyed podcasting. And he was a very, very positive member of the community. It's a very sad day. I mean, if anybody wants to just say a couple of kind words, and we'll keep it going.
Yeah, he was. Again, I'd first started podcasting with himself on Mads, Next Gen Gaming podcast, and then I kind of had obviously chatted with him a few times afterwards, been in party chats with him, then he came on my show a few times. He's interviewed Joe from Song of Iron with us. He's just normal podcasting. Really cool guy. He's a lot of knowledge on specifically retro gaming, because of course he's an old cat. He's been around a long time, so he's had and collected pretty much everything. So for me, I just hope his son and his family kind of keeps that stuff and remembers him for it. No doubt they will, and obviously keeps that tradition up for himself. Really, really cool guy. Really genuine. Never got involved in all of this silliness on Twitter and things, but he was always there. Specifically when I just remember, like, even when I was like down to like 2 people on the podcast or something, I'd be like, is anybody free? Mojo would be straight up, hands up, yeah, I'm good to go, I'll jump in, I'll help. And he was always there to kind of lend a hand or just talk gaming and have fun. And really genuine guy, and he'll be a huge miss.
Yeah, absolutely. Mag, you had a chance to just recently work with him. Talk about that for a hot second.
Well, for anybody who watches Gaming After Dark, it's a ruckus time, right? So usually guests come on, and I got to tell you, most of them are very intimidated by what we do on there, because between myself, Noof, and Titan, it is like fast-paced, it's violent, it's dirty, it's whatever, and a lot of people are taken aback by it.
And the kitchen sink, by the way.
Oh my God, and then some, yeah. And he came on the show, and he just fit right in, and just like was right in there, was just laughing his ass off. He was just happy, just having a great time. We all got in on the laughs, all joking around and everything else, and he wasn't intimidated by any of it. Like you said, he was an old school cat, and so he's been around the block a few times, right? He's seen everything, whatever. He's not like, oh my God, what are these guys saying? And he was just right in on it. It was like 4 guys sitting around having a beer together. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he was that kind of guy and whatever. And then very shortly after, I think it was literally weeks after, and then he had his heart surgery. Yes. And he had a leakage. He had to go back in. They fixed it. he even updated it, which was so eerie for me. And then he was just like, everything's fine now. Everything's good now. And then that was the last I heard of him. And it was pretty heartbreaking to lose a community member. And, the thing is, I wanted to say something to everybody in the chat and obviously the panel. And, it doesn't matter what you like, whether it's Xbox, Nintendo, PlayStation, Oculus Quest, whatever the hell you like, PC. At the end of the day, the thing is, we're all human beings.
Yeah,
you know what I'm
great
saying?
Points. Great
we're
point,
all
man.
we're all just people. And even though we've never met each other like in person, I gotta say, like, I almost get choked up when I think about it sometimes, that some of the best people I've ever met on this planet, I've been around almost 50 years, and some of the best people I've ever met and made friends with is right here in this community, right here on this panel, right? Like, I actually like feel for people it's crazy to think about that. And I thought about it last night, and I was like, I never even met Mojo Blues. I clearly am never going to meet him, but I felt something. You know what I mean? Like, you feel that loss. Like, oh my God, I lost a brother. And it's crazy that even though you don't see each other, like all of us right here, like, who knows when, if and when we'll ever get together as a group or whatever at E3 or who knows, right? Yeah. But the thing is, I feel that camaraderie. And then the thing is, we should all feel that camaraderie.
I
you know
agree.
what I'm saying?
Couldn't say it any better.
Doesn't matter who you are, what you are, anything else, like that kind of thing, So, and so like, anyway, it's just, I felt the loss, and it's, we should all just, pay homage to a good guy in the community and a guy who was like, just really just there to have a good time and have fun,
Yeah. I mean, that's a great point. I will say this, when you lose someone in the community that you've worked with, that you've heard on podcasts, I think the one thing specifically about this community that's extremely powerful is that there's a message of friendship, I think, that we all have dug into our DNA, especially everyone on this particular panel. And when we talk with the other community members, when we talk with the other panel members, when we're out there, whether on a podcast or on the socials, even though we may never meet, there is a kindredship that begins, and it's this is not the first time, unfortunately, that I've been a part of losing someone in the community that I've either worked with or known, and it's never easy. But the best way to handle it is to talk about it like we're doing right now. We're taking a few minutes of the show to remember Mojo Blues, and he was and is and will always be remembered as a positive community member that I think a lot of people walked away actually really liking and maybe not even meeting in real life. So big shout out to Eagles fan 76 who drops a $2 super chat and says, shout out to a loss. Mojo Blues, love that guy. Yeah, and I'm right there with you. Thank you for the super chat and thank you for remembering. And yeah, he's a big loss, especially when you lose someone that is a positive member that people will remember. He had a very unique voice that we're just never going to hear again, and it's very sad. But I want to thank the community. We have almost 200 people here already. Thank you for bearing with us as we remember Mojo Blues. Super important for me, super important for everybody on this panel. And now we're going to get into Halo Infinite, folks. Look, I mean, listen. Normally, I build these shows sometimes a week in advance, and I write the stories. But this entire episode, the next hour and 42 hours is going to be strictly based on Halo. I wrote a whole show for it, and I think it's worthy. And I want to start off first with something that, even though it was my birthday and I was hanging out with family, I still was able to pry myself away and keep up to date with the socials, because obviously one of the things I really enjoyed seeing was the excitement from the community. And we're gonna go first to Mag on this. Mag, one of the things that I witnessed was on my social timeline, along with everyone else that I followed, was how incredibly excited everyone that played the flighting beta part 2, if you will, was. There were screenshots, there were videos, There were long paragraphs about halos of lost. You know what I'm?
Yeah.
It just was so much to talk about. It was exciting. One of the things that I think I walked away from just this particular topic was that there wasn't any talk of PlayStation or Nintendo. It was all Halo Infinite, and it seemed to me, and again, maybe because my glass is always half full rather than half empty, that there was a blur in the lines, like that imaginary line that some of these knuckleheads in this community draw in the sand about you being an Xbot or a pony or a Nintendo, whatever. Those lines seemed to be swept away, and it just was one giant community voice talking about the king of shooters. And I got news for you folks. Halo is back. What is your opinion on this, dude?
Well, let me tell you something. You're right. And the thing is that's crazy is we're basically just playing arena. Like just one aspect of many aspects of the multiplayer. And people are excited. And the thing is that's funny is that it's not just like you said, it's not just, the Xbox community beating their chest like Donkey Kong, right? Like it's a lot of it's everybody. Now, the thing is what a lot of people don't appreciate is the fact that this is going to be free to play. Right? So if you are a Nintendo person and you don't have any form of Xbox or you don't even whatever, right? You're going to be able to play this. That I don't think that any people have given enough appreciation as to how big that is that it's going to go free to play. You're not going to pull everybody out of the Fortnites, because people, they get once they're in there or the war zones or whatever, right? But you are going to get a significant amount of people, a significant amount of traffic going to this game because of that. Interesting, you mentioned some of the toxic fools and whatever else. Actually, ironically, and I follow some of those guys. I don't block them, right? You know what I do? I'm the spy. So I'm watching them. Those guys were all playing the Halo beta this weekend. Every last one of them.
Frauds is
right?
all I could
so
say.
They were all playing it. So the thing is, yes, you're right. It has blurred the lines. Okay, so now this is way bigger of a thing that I think people, like I said, are giving it credit for, and they will find out, God willing, by the first week of December, that this is all going to go without a hitch. Now, however, that being said, boy, does 343 and Microsoft have one hell of a mountain to climb, because they're going to have to keep these servers up and running, not crashing. My God, you're going to be going across the Xbox One, the One S, the One X, the Series X, the Series S, PC, free to play like on your phone or whatever, mobile, everything. That is going to be unbelievable. And you know that the influx of people playing are going to be big. Now, the other reason why I want to say this quickly is that the reason why I think there's going to be an even bigger influx of players, not just because it's Halo, is because you have to look at the competition. And the competition has not come to the fight with any gloves on. They're not ready to fight. All I've heard from Call of Duty Vanguard is that it is nothing but trash.
Yes.
Now, this is not me. I never played it, so I'm not going to say that. Okay.
There's been a lot of negative chatter regarding what people had to say about Vanguard. A lot of people are very disappointed.
Boom, have you seen some of the screenshots?
Yeah, dude, I saw one that looked like an N64 game.
Dude, it looked like a close up of like Malfoy on the PlayStation 1 Harry Potter game. like whoa! You look at it, you're like, what the hell is that? And then you're like, oh my God, that's Vanguard. Like it was crazy. It looked like literally just a polygon with blood on it. And I'm like, okay, cool.
That's it. The one that epitomized it for me was seeing journalists put on pictures of just them getting a refund.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's crazy, And anyway, so there's competition number one, right? You got Vanguard doing its thing. Of course, you're going to have people who buy Halo, buy Call of Duty. They don't know what the hell's going on. They don't listen to us. Okay, they don't listen to podcasts. They don't go to the website. They don't do anything, right? They just go out and they buy it, right? They're not part of this community. They just buy it and they play it, and that's all there is to it. And like up here in Canada, I know guys, like I know in the States, you get the dude bros who buy Call of Duty and Madden, right? Up here, all the Canadian dude bros, they buy Call of Duty and NHL. That's it. Okay, so it's the same idea, just, whatever. So they don't know what the hell's going on. They're just going to go buy it. However, the community, the actual, like us, the community, the people in the chat, people on Twitter, whatever else, right? They're just like, ugh, right? So, okay, so Call of Duty, let's pull them a little bit to the side now. Now you've got Battlefield. I've also heard some mixed things about Battlefield, even though Battlefield seems to be a little bit, more, I guess, got a little bit more of their stuff together. I heard that their betas were not very good. I mean, even Jez Corden was talking about it on the Xbox 2 podcast, and he was like, ugh. So that doesn't sound too hot either, right? So that's assuming that they're going to release in that third week of November. Some people are saying that, you know what, they might not even hit that date either. They might have to push into early New Year.
I have a feeling it's going to be delayed until next year. That's just my opinion.
Now let me ask you this, Boom. Does it sound like the stars are aligning?
Dude, let me tell you something. I don't have a tinfoil hat. And as a matter of fact, my hat, I forgot that I was going to wear. I have a Master Chief helmet I was going to start the podcast with, but it's just too much. So listen, anyway, I think you're onto something here, because if we look at how things went for Xbox, and I'm going to give you the mic back in a second. When you go from 2013, a lot of Xbox gamers, 360 gamers who had Halo 2, 3, and 4 and Reach in their rearview mirror went over to PlayStation, right? And since then, we've seen the Apex Legends come to fruition. We've seen Call of Duty and Warzone, right? We've seen Fortnite explode on the scene. I got a funny feeling that because this is going to be free to play, I think you're going to potentially see the former Halo players that are now, a part of the Apex Legend crews and Call of Duty and of course Fortnite. They could come back in a big way, and you mentioned something, and I want you to reiterate on this, Mag.
Yeah,
both the games that you just talked about, you have to buy.
Well,
you have to buy Call of Duty.
Right.
You have to buy Battlefield, and that, my friend, is where I think 343 Microsoft and Halo Infinite have a distinct advantage.
Yes, the paywall is an advantage. I mean, that's where you get the younger crowd, right? You get the younger crowd, like my son, he's 8 turning 9. He'll be 9 when the game comes out. He'll be right on there day one. Guess what? Well, I mean, he already has Game Pass anyway. But the thing is, he ain't getting no Call of Duty. First of all, he's too young for that stuff yet. And Battlefield, it's not happening just yet. I'll wait a couple of more years. However, with a free-to-play Halo, him and his friends can all play it now. You know what I'm saying?
Indeed.
Like, the parents don't have to be like, oh, I got to shell out $80 or whatever. You know what I mean? They don't have to do any of that. It's there. All you got to do is just download it, right? So that's a huge bonus. The other thing, now I'm going to get into my, actually very, very quickly here, I'm going to get into my personal, now that I've said all that, that's sort of like looking down at the whole picture. I'm going to tell you about my personal experience. I played a couple times this weekend. I had a busy weekend, but I still got to play. I partnered up with ACS Husk and Psychonauts. Shout out to those guys. And Percolator 9000. The four of us went in there and we played. Now, the funny thing is, I did the bots first because I wanted to get a feel for it, right? I'm like, let me see what's going on here. Now, I'm not a tech guy, okay? Everybody knows this by now. I'm just a regular schmo who happens to know a hell of a lot about video games. But, like these lunatics,
and a
like
completist,
Wandering Dutch.
by the way.
Eh?
A completist, by the way.
And a complete.
Don't get me started.
Yeah. So, don't worry, Asante. There's more coming, buddy. Just relax. But yeah. Anyway, speaking of Asante, like Asante and Wandering Dutch, these two lunatics know everything. They go like, well, it went from 57 to 58 frames. I'm like, how do you even know that? But they just know this stuff. I don't. So what I did is I walked in there like I was just one of the dudes in the trenches, just a regular guy. Let me go in there and see how this feels. Now, the thing is, I've been actually very vocal about the fact that I am not a very good Halo multiplayer player. And I've actually, because I'm not very good, I wasn't really into it because I suck. And the thing is, I'm really good at like Call of Duty and Battlefield because that, like the time to kill thing, it almost feels like, what is going on? And I'm hammering a dude and I'm just like, why won't you die? And like, you know what I mean? Because I'm so used to like a short burst, preferably in the head or up in the upper body. Dude goes down, it's over, right? So the thing is, when you play Halo, obviously you have to change up your tactics. It's a totally different feel. However, in terms of the speed, the fluidity of the game, it just felt like a Call of Duty or a Battlefield. I would actually say closer to Call of Duty in terms of its fluidity and how smooth it was and everything. It was great. And the responsiveness was excellent. The hit ratio was very good. Like, it was all there. Like, it was very accurate. Excellent. Loved it. Now, the thing is, I was like I said, I was playing against the bots. No issues, right? I'm like, hey, this is pretty awesome. Killing guys. And the other thing is that grapple, right? You know, everybody talks about the grapple. And correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't that just a power up?
So good.
It is so good.
It is a power up. It is a
So it's
power
a power
up.
up. So like a lot of guys I was playing with, and they were like, "Oh man, I'm going to be using this all the time." I'm like, "Dude, you got to get it first. It's not like you get it and you've got it the whole time." Can you imagine how irritating that would be on a map with 8 people and everybody's grappling like Spider-Man all over the place? It's not going to happen.
Bro, that's what I want. I want grapple shots and melee. That's
It's
it.
like those guys with the jetpacks in Infinite Warfare and Call of Duty. It was like everybody was dancing around like it was the Matrix.
right.
I'm like, guys, come on, man. So
I cannot wait for Forge. I mean, you're bringing up some good points, but
Yes.
think about some of the crazy stuff people are going to be building in Forge.
Right,
with,
in
like,
Forge,
unlimited
absolutely.
grapple.
Because at least that's something that you could create, right? So you could create the parameters and everything else, and that's great. But for the main game, I'm glad that they left it as a power up, because it would just cause so much imbalance in the field, right? So, but anyways, then I got to play against human beings, and I have to ask the question: is why is it that everybody else seems to play Halo? They play regular humans. Me, they always put me against esports guys who, like, I don't understand this. I don't understand how good. Like, I'm watching like little clips of people, not like that fraud Everborn,
who we thought was actually playing against people, and it was bots.
Yeah, it was bots. Yeah, I was so dumbfounded. But I'm watching other people's videos, and I'm sitting there going, "What the hell is this?" And I'm playing against guys. I unload 2 clips on them. The guy's dancing like James Brown on crystal meth, and I haven't hit the guy once. And I'm going, and then he turns around, pink, one shot with like a potato gun, and I'm dead. Right? And I'm like, Jesus H. Christ. But anyways, enough of the griping. But I got to enough of the baloney. I got to tell you, the game plays so good. By the end of it, and yeah, I had Husk and Psychonauts and Percolator. They're all making fun of me. But by the end of it, I was still getting like 8 to 10 kills around. So that was not bad for me. So fair warning, guys, whoever wants to add the mag to their party, just remember I'll always be 4th. Okay, so let's put that out there. However, the game is a lot of fun. And the thing is, you can feel and sense the excitement in the players. Like I'm like listening to the guys in the chat and stuff. They're like, they're like all really, really into it. No one was really like criticizing, like, oh, well, you know, the this and that. I don't know about this. It just sounded like everybody was having good old fashioned fun. You know what I'm saying? Like good old fashioned fun, like as if you rewound the clock 19 years, 18 years, and we were sitting around playing Halo 2 with a bunch of your friends on the living room floor kind of vibe, and it had that vibe. And the thing is, these are only good omens. Yes, I do not want Call of Duty to fail, particularly. I definitely don't want Battlefield to fail. However, the way things are lining up, it looks like they're not going to do so hot. And I think that this is the moment where Halo needs to, climb that ladder, okay, and just take the belt. You know what I'm saying? And just say, I'm here. But the thing is, once again, 343 has got to nail the launch. And that's why they're opening up the beta to everybody else next weekend.
Well, I mean, listen,
got to stress test it, man.
Yeah, I'm going to say this. They're doing it right. We've had one flighting. We just had the second one. The third one is coming. And we're still only going to be at the first week of October once the third flighting comes. They have all of November, which is why the December date makes sense, right? There's also something to take into account. We as fans of the single player and the multiplayer, what do we want? Well, we want the launch to be flawless. See, this is why when you look back at them postponing Forge and, of course, the co-op, it makes sense. I know, and again, I understand for some people, for some gamers, I'm not going to get into your headspace and say you're right or wrong. I said for me personally, those two additions, they don't mean a lot to me. Though that doesn't take away from it meaning a lot for someone. Someone may, well, I've always played every Halo multiplayer with my brother or my sister or my kid, and you can't do that. And I hear you, but at the same time, I think what we all want is Halo Infinite to launch both campaign and multiplayer flawlessly, and I think that they are proving that they are bringing it 100. Let's get to One Bad Mother, our special guest of the evening. OBM, this I mean, listen, if there's one thing that I took away from this particular flighting, which of course was this weekend, is that graphically it really, really looked good. I mean, there was a bunch of people. I know that the fruit gate from the first one where they couldn't, the apple physics wasn't good enough for some people because you couldn't shoot an apple like you could in Metal Gear Solid. We did see a lot of people breaking down the vehicle, shooting out tires, knocking off pieces. I mean, I saw a lot of one-to-ones where people took screenshots of artwork of what it was going to look like and what it looked like in the game. And this is the beta. I could not believe how close one-to-one it was. What was your experience with the beta?
Yeah, so I mean, there's a lot to unpack there, and I guess starting out with graphics, I'll be totally candid with the crew here. When it comes to graphics, it's probably like way down my list from things that are important, especially with Halo. Like I've been a hardcore Halo fan for, like I said before, 20 years, really since I played it 3 weeks after it launched. And the thing that makes like those classics really hold up, like I went back and I did the entire franchise on Legendary, playing through the campaigns again, and I still play, multiplayer with friends. Mostly it's been Halo 5 over the last few years, but the thing that always has made it hold up has been that sandbox. Just that kind of perfect blend of skill and then just allowing, just funny things to happen, exciting things, like a lot more dynamic. And that's the one thing I always found with Halo, that when Halo's not Halo, like when it's not been at the forefront, like there's always been this hole in the first person shooter space, because, as much as, Call of Duty has, obviously it's massive.
Oh. No. And he's left the building.
Huh?
343 is
well, no, I was about to say, does
the
343
snipers did not get him. It could have been something with his family. He is watching the kids, so we will wait for him to come back. Hopefully, they'll be back momentarily. Let's get Kay Asante in on the conversation. Kay Asante, you had a chance to play. I'm very interested to break down what your again. We're going to get to your personal impressions, but what I want to talk about, because we were talking about this, me, you, and Dutch specifically in the green room, and I think it's worthy of a conversation, was the social timeline. It seemed as if everyone that got a chance to play that wasn't trolling for clicks or trying to be just a big douche, they were just out there. Most of the conversation was exciting. And most of the conversation was gamers that were excited to get back to playing classic Halo. And 343 seems to have done that.
Very true. Very true. It's funny. I should mention and salute to Mr. Gerald Mack in the chat. He's in the chat right now. I was on the Spaces with him.
We'll get back to you, OBM.
And OBM's back. No worries. I was on the Spaces that Gerald Mack had put together. We were just having Xbox conversations and whatnot, and it was a room full of people. And out of nowhere, this was Friday evening, very late Friday evening. Out of nowhere, I'm like, let me just hit this Halo Infinite Insider button and see if it turns on. And Friday night, I think it was Friday night. I think so. Either Friday night or Thursday midnight. It was just working. And I'm like, and we're in this Spaces full of maybe it was 12, 13 people. By the way, gentlemen, you know the Halo Infinite started, right? Okay, bye. Everybody hung up to go to play it. It was pretty amazing, you know. It like the talk around it is genuinely jovial and exciting, and people are just so excited to play with it. And a little bit to the point that folks have very poignantly made, including OBM, like what people are doing in the arenas now, just to kind of play with what you have available. Obviously, it's a very small snippet of what they're going to give you when it's all said and done. But you know, the swinging across the map. There are people who are literally taking tires off of the Mongoose and then driving the car with the Mongoose tire off. You know, there are people who are using the repulsor to literally repulse the entire, like when you're driving a Warthog with 4 people all like in it, and you boom repulse, and the whole thing goes flying off a bridge. Like, it is amazing the things that people are doing, and they're finding out all the really cool, interesting physics puzzles and weird things that 343 has kind of put in there, and just kind of went, let's leave it for them to find out. You know, you may not be able to shoot the fruit individually, but you can do a lot of interesting things in that game, and people are discovering that, and it's really fun to, you know, see people discovering it and really like getting really into it and all that. I really loved the experience of playing. I will say though, just so that it's clear, there's also a fraud alert on me, because I also played most of the weekend in the bots. Why? My reason is different. I don't know. I'll leave Everborn to defend himself, but with me, the reason why I played bots is because when I pause it, it stays paused. Then I can go deal with the kids and then come back and continue exactly where it was. Oh my God. That was the greatest. I'm like, I'm never going to play against a human again. I can just pause this thing, go do what I got to do, and come back. This is the greatest thing ever. And then, of course, you said it to Spartan. They weren't, obviously, they're not as good as human players are, but it still gives you the full effect, and it's still fun. And I'm like literally Batmaning all over.
You said something super important. You said it's fun.
Oh, it's great. It's great fun.
Regardless of
great fun.
what you are doing. See, this is one of those minutiae parts of the topics that we may overlook, that we don't really get a chance to really dig into. And I don't want, obviously we only have a 2-hour podcast, but what it seems as if they have made it what do we always ask for? Choices, right? Gamers love choices. And one of the things that I think that we saw very often, Keosante, was the fact that 343 has basically said, if you want to play bots, we gotcha. You want to do training, we gotcha. You want to just jump headfirst into getting your face beat like poor Mag over here with the with the esports players. You can go and do that too. But you see, this is the choices that are going to be so important to keeping people. Because let's say, for instance, if you don't want to, let's say you're just not that good of a Halo player, but you want to get better, you keep going at those bots, and eventually you're going to feel strong enough to move on. And that is that's the whole point.
Yeah, exactly. No, I completely agree with you, and that's why we'll do the whole fraud talk. But if you're a person who plays with bots all day, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. And if my kids weren't an excuse, I would probably be playing bots anyway, because like Mag, I enjoy being in the upper echelon of the leaderboard. And when I'm playing and after like a whole weekend of like trouncing bots here and there, and then all of a sudden you're playing against humans who've been itching to play all weekend, you're getting to the bottom of the barrel there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And those of us who
quick question.
Go ahead,
do you think that Asante and Boom or anybody, do you guys think that maybe they'll have like a bot section where they can up the ante in terms of difficulty?
Oh, but that's what they're doing, right?
Yes,
that's what they're doing, right? That's the reason why they gave you that bot match for a long time, right? They're trying to tune the bots. That's why the bots started.
You did Academy, you did ODST, then you did Spartans.
If you recall, the last time they did all this, the bots started teabagging people. Where do you think they got that from? They're learning from people.
That was hilarious.
Yeah, I was watching like the Dev Diaries, David Ellis. I follow him on Twitter. Great dude. Also works at 343. He's like, I put that one in special for some people. They're really, really like focused on like making even the bot experience really awesome. So if that's the way you're going to play all the time, hey, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. For the sole reason that I can pause my game, go do daddy daycare, and come back and continue where I left off, I might be botting all the time. It's all good with me, you know. So let me just end off and let somebody else speak and just say it was a great weekend, enjoying it. I loved like going into the training room, setting all my opponents to like 1 or 2, so there's barely any like adversary in the map, putting as many grapple shots as I can get, and just Spider-Man-ing throughout the entire map over, and it's the greatest thing. It's just so good, so much fun.
One of the things that made Halo 3 for me so amazing was the power-ups. And it's the reason why I think they nailed Infinite as to feel like 3, because of there's a particular one that I saw that it's like a block on your arm. I saw someone do the repulsor. I saw someone do something so incredible. 3 people chasing him down. He bounced him off once and then knocked him a second time over the edge, getting 3 kills in one shot. I couldn't believe it. I was like, oh my God, this is unbelievable. And I was basically Spider-Man in the Spartan outfit because I was flying all over the place. I said, my God. But let's get Wondering Dutch's opinion on this. Dutch, you have a lot to say. And OBM, we're going to get to you, brother. I don't know what's happening, but
there must be like a chipmunk chewing on the internet wires outside or something. I don't know, man. You know, that's what it feels like when you're driving with the flag and you think you're almost there in the Warthog and you shoot the skewer right before the finish line. But
that actually happened to me. I was literally right there, and I think I got hit by that harpoon thing. I don't know what it was. It just, not good. Wandering Dutch, let's get your opinion on this. You know, you're a very social guy on besides having your incredible podcast, besides you supporting your own channel, you're always out there talking with the people. And I'm interested to get your opinion on what you saw from the community, because it was a lot of talk, and it almost seemed as if it was only a few of the knuckleheads that were out there. Most people were talking about how much fun and how excited they were to play Halo. And of course, I'm going to get your experience followed by that to talk about it.
Yeah, certainly. So again, I started off much like most people. I started off because this was actually I didn't play the first flight. This was originally my plan was to not play it and just wait for launch and just go right. I just hope for the best. And then a few of my guys from my panel were like, "Yeah, I've played it and it's absolutely awesome," and just kept on having a laugh and having fun. And I was like, "Oh, I'm signing up." It's I can't resist this now. I'm signing up. So I signed up, and then for one moment I thought I wasn't actually getting in, even though they stated that everybody was getting in. And then, of course, they said those weren't the invites. The invites are going out today. I was like, right, okay, that's fine. And then I was in. So first thing I did was go and literally just check out everything that was available in the flight that goes for customization, everything in between. I actually, because that hasn't been touched on yet, really love the way they're doing the customization there. Of course, there is a lot of things that are cosmetic. All of it, in fact, is cosmetic, and obviously based on your level, etc. You get better armor, and you can unlock more things, and you can do daily challenges. And to be fair, the daily challenges that they've got there are pretty basic. Even if you're playing against bots, I'm sure you can actually kind of level up as long as they're Spartan bots. But it's just what they've got in terms of your color customization, weapon customization, armor attachments, the different types of armor you can have on there. There is just an abundance of things to keep you going and keep you changing it up, visor colors and all these different paintworks and things like that. So I was like, right, that looks really cool. So once I'd done that, then I went into bot games and checked out every map that was available initially. Of course, they added the additional map on the last day. But all the maps went around every map, checked them out. My personal favorite actually isn't of these first 3 is the map that you've got on screen now, mainly for the grapple hook, because I loved just grappling onto the ceiling and swinging across the other side and shooting people. And that was just got addicted to that. I was like, if you just catch it the right way, you can just swing all the way across from one side of the map to the other, which was just absolutely awesome.
I did a lot of sneak attacks. I saw people shooting down from a high edge and would come up behind them and just bash them. I saw actually people do the kick, like grab them and then fly right at them and then do like an elbow. Man, it's so fast.
It is. It's really fast. Then we got into eventually got into some some PvP with the gang on Sunday. Played for the first full play session. Like I mentioned earlier, unfortunately for Europe, the play session times were a bit wild. So first play session times for us was 6 p.m. till 10 p.m. Second play session was 1 a.m. until 5 a.m. So for the Europeans, that was unless you haven't got work, that's a no-go for the second play session.
And when people hate on Xbox and they're European and you wonder why, I would hate on Xbox if that was my reality. This is BS. Come on now.
Yeah, sort that out. At least have a separate play session for the
specifically for the European regions. Come on now.
An earlier one, like a one
point.
that starts earlier in the day, because obviously the Americans at that point, or Americas, will be asleep at that point. You've got the Europeans getting the servers tested, and then because vast majority of the time you're going to have these split server sections anyway. Just to try and keep ping down and things like that for people who have got kind of not the best connections. But at the same time, it was just so much fun. And even though I hate Capture the Flag, I also love Capture the Flag because it's so intense. We got into this one game that ended up going into overtime right near the end of our play
I tell you
session.
something, you can go from 0-0 to you're down 2,
1-1 or 2-2.
Yeah, dude, very quickly
in a brief moment. Yeah. And it's like it's tug of war. That's what it is. Like they've got the flag, you've got the flag. You both switch sides, and you've got to realize you've got to get the flag back before you can put the flag down. You're like, right, who's going to stay here and who's going to go and get that flag? So. But then it went down to overtime, and then eventually we managed to get this flag just into the base in time to wrap it up and get the win. And that was just a sense of relief. And it was like, oh God. But it was teamwork, and that's one thing I think people need to realize as well with Halo is you will get, especially if you're playing PvP against these esports players, if you go alone or try to go alone on Halo Online, you will get annihilated 9 times out of 10 because
they'll attack you like a pack of dogs.
Yeah, the big players stay together and they swarm you.
Yes,
swarm you. So stick together as a team, and you'll go straight through them. But it's just so much fun. And I want to kind of highlight a few things that some of them mentioned. Mag, first of all, you mentioned there it's from what we've got initially. This is it's just a small glimpse of what is in the actual launch. Now they've already mentioned we've played 3 maps, got a kind of half day playing on the 4th map that they put on, the new one, which is absolutely incredible.
Yeah, it's big.
So much fun. It's big. It's got these nice launching pads. I've seen someone shoot a harpoon in a launch pad, which fired back to him and shot the guy that was standing in front of him. I was like,
oh, wow. These people. Those are the people that they put against me.
They all teamed up against poor Mag.
Yeah, those are the people that they all put in one group against me specifically. Those kind of people.
Mag, don't worry. I have a couch waiting for you. We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about it.
But the point, and the great thing is we've played 4 maps, and we're so excited about the 4 maps we played so far. They've got 23 maps at launch. Yes. 23 maps. That is insane. I've not seen a multiplayer game for first-person shooter specifically launch with 23 maps.
I don't think it's ever been done.
Quick aside, those maps are being assisted by Certain Affinity. If anybody knows who they are, they made all the maps, including the OG Halo maps. All your favorite, Hit 'em High, Blood Gulch, all of them. They made all of those maps. So be excited. Please continue.
Oh yeah,
and you could feel Max Hoberman. He was the lead.
Max Hoberman, yes,
he was the lead for Bungie's maps, and you could with that newest map, you could feel
his influence. Yes, definitely.
Also, one last quick thing before Dutch continues is Battlefield. Aren't they launching with something like 7 maps or something?
It's small.
That?
It's a third of what they're launching.
Okay, so that brings up the point again about the competition.
Yes.
You know, with Call of Duty kind of falling apart, Battlefield launching with like 7 maps, and now what Dutch is saying. How many was it? 23?
23.
23
maps.
Yeah. There you
go.
Sorry.
Yeah.
And on top of that, of course, we're only playing 3 of the game modes. We're playing Capture the Flag, essentially Domination, and
Slayer.
We've only played 3 game modes. Like there's so many different modes and features, and then you've got Forge coming later next year, which is just going to increase it substantially. I mean, the fact that people, I mean, yes, I understand people want Forge at launch, but of course, if it's the best it's going to be, then they want to make sure it's the best it can be. You can't knock them for then including 23 maps and a whole host of game modes. And then secondary to that, which what Keosante was touching on as well, which was to do with being able to pause the game and just play against bots and play online and things like that. Not only is that just a great feature to have in the first place, but that's bringing accessibility into a gamer set that never played Halo before and found it too difficult to get into previously because, as Mag was mentioning, trying to play online on Halo, in any of the Halos, you will just get slapped continuously unless you are esports or slightly better than average or pro level. Like, unless you're playing that game consistently from the day dot on any other Halo, you're getting annihilated. The fact that they're putting in bots into the Halo multiplayer and be able to go in with your team and just play against bots and get yourselves used to it and knock that difficulty up to Spartan levels so that you can kind of get yourself a little bit more used to players that are going to give you a good fight back. That's just going to bring so many more new players into the scene as well and get people used to it. Because the one gripe you always see against new players as well is this is just too hard. It's not fun because I'm getting slapped. Yeah, I'm just getting hit around the map every time. I'm getting one kill and I'm out. So if you bring in things like bot in again, it's not affecting the online rankings or anything like that because it's essentially a training mode, as it were. So you're able to have fun with your friends, practice a bit, get used to it, and when you feel comfortable enough and you think, yeah, I think I'm ready to try that online PvP, then you can jump in and try that online PvP. It's just bringing. That's the best thing about this is the free to play mixed with the bots. Is it's going to bring a whole new generation of Halo fans into the franchise, and I think as coupled with that, the graphics, as you mentioned before, this is multiplayer. This isn't the height of what the game's going to look like. When you're talking about a centralized single-player campaign where you don't have to worry about the online infrastructure to a point, the single-player campaign is going to be notched up again in terms of graphical quality. So the fact it looks this good just in the multiplayer section,
that's an absolutely fantastic point. Now, real quick, Mag. Yes. You got to bounce.
I do. Yes, guys, sorry to cut it out short, but I've got family things to deal with tonight. However, I would imagine Everborn's going to tag in while I bow out at some point. So anyways, I'm going to keep it short, gentlemen. Everybody, you know where to find me. Everybody have a wonderful evening, and I'll see you back all next week for a full-time show.
Yeah, thanks so much, brother. Definitely appreciate it, bro.
Have a good night.
Have a good one.
Thank you.
Okay, so by all means, continue wandering, Dutch.
Yeah. So it was just like I mentioned there that in terms of what we can expect at launch, I think it's extremely promising. And to be fair, in terms of actual server stability for a technical flight, I think it has been pretty well received. I know the PC guys have had a bit of a torrid time this particular flight. I know quite a few people have mentioned on PC that some GPUs have had certain issues and frame rates and things.
I played it on PC. It wasn't that bad for me. It was pretty good. I played on both PC and console. There's some delays and slowness here and there, but it was pretty decent, you know. It's to be expected, beta and all.
Yeah, exactly. But again, this is what technical flights are there for: is you iron out these things, you get used to the full launch. But I think overall, in terms of the actual server stability, I mean, the worst thing that happened is the fact that you search for a game and it times out and it can't find a game, and then you quickly search again, it's found a game immediately. That was the worst thing that come out of it for us. I mean, other than that, there was no dropouts, there was no lagging issues, the servers were upheld, it didn't kick anybody out. We didn't have anything like that. So the servers themselves are already pretty strong. So I'm looking forward to really them ramping it up, getting these extra players in this coming weekend. Of course, now open up to all Xbox Insiders. If you weren't already aware, it's open to everybody. All you've got to do is download the Xbox Insider app on Xbox. It's a quick 2-second sign up. Other than that, you don't need to sign up for Halo Insider, and everybody can download the latest build ready for this weekend and jump in and have fun. Go for it because we need to test and they need to test the server strength. They need to get those numbers up ready for launch to make sure it is as good as it can be. So everybody jump in, try it, play against bots, play against people, whatever you want to do, just have fun. It's going to be absolutely awesome.
A quick pro tip from me.
Yep.
I signed up to the Halo beta, the Halo Insider program, way long time ago. I forgot I signed up during the Halo Master Chief Collection days. And still, every single new beta that comes out, I'm in it. Whether I choose to participate or not. Every flight, every one, I get an invite. So if you guys are interested and you know Halo's coming out and it's not going to be like we're done, we'll go on vacation. It's the beginning. They're going to be adding stuff. Even Halo MCC gets betas that we get into these days. So if you're interested and you want to see the new stuff, I would sign up to that Halo Insider and make sure it's on point, because you will get invites I get invites to everything, whether I choose to accept it or not. So that's just something you guys want to think about if you want to, get in on all that Halo stuff.
Yeah, that's a great point. Now I want to go back to OBM because obviously we had some small technical
Please,
issues
yes,
there.
yes,
And,
please.
before we get to your OBM, I want to thank Drawn TJ for the outstanding $5 super chat and says, I've played the hell out of all of the Halos, and this is by far the best Halo ever, indeed. And Paul _AFC says, love the channel and guests. It's 2:40 a.m. and probably later now, but I have to watch. Classic Halo is back, and I'm happy. 343's redemption is on. Indeed, it actually is. And that's a great point, my friend. Thank you for being here, even though it's super, super late in the UK, and that's where Dutch is. Dutch is over there, and he's obviously up at super, super late. And of course, we love having him a part of this show each and every week. But OBM, the two things I want to get to before we get into like the real nitty gritty of what we're expecting from Halo moving forward was your opinion on how social media was buzzing. I mean, it literally was buzzing when it started, and Dutch said something. It's still buzzing. People are still posting videos. People are still posting, still screens and talking about Halo and showing their Halo collections off. It seems as if 343 definitely tapped the vein with this flighting. Do me a favor, talk about the socials and then your personal experience with it.
Yeah, so actually that's an interesting topic because it does tie back into that thing I was talking about like 40 minutes ago before I got sabotaged by my internet. But yeah, so the thing I was really wanted to focus on when we were talking before was about that sandbox. I on my show, you had me at Halo. Sometimes I get some crap because I say that word way too much. I'm like, remember Ballmer with the developers. Like I might as well start that show every time, like sandbox. Because Halo, like when you think about when it was at its height, and the thing that made it stand out versus any other game, both in terms of the campaign and in the multiplayer, was that sort of dynamic gameplay where different people can approach the same situation differently. Sometimes wild things would happen with the physics, or you'd use some combination of weapons in the situation that somebody wouldn't think of, or you'd end up getting up to a part of the map that wasn't really intended. All these types of things. And what I believe right now that 343 has the best sandbox for Halo. I'd say of all time right now. And this is one of the things I was going to be writing in this article. This is even going back to the campaign, which I was getting way ahead of ourselves. But the foundation for Halo has never been better. As somebody who's been in like I said, it's been there since day one, or not day one, week 3 onwards. But since then, I would say that, looking at all the different aspects of Halo, the foundation when it comes to the weapons, the movements, the way that all the different things, all the different gadgets in your arsenal have a real purpose. As much as I played Halo 5 a lot, and I did, I played it, I think I mentioned it on this show before, I played it about 2,000 hours, mostly in Arena. And, wow. I was addicted to it. But the one thing that stood out almost immediately was how many more layers there is to this versus something like that. Like Halo 5 was, as fun as it was very flat. Like, people weren't going to share a lot of different clips other than, hey, look at I went on this streak with perfect kills, or look at all these snipes I got in a row, or something like that. It didn't have that sort of that sort of unpredictability. And then even with the weapons, a lot of them, there's a lot of overlap, and a lot of them were like fairly different from each other. Like there was just all these little small variations. And this is getting back to sort of the basics, where everything that's in the system has its purpose. And I would say that the two things that they've added to this, the grapple shot and the repulsor, those equipment items,
Dude, those are so epic.
They are. And those two things alone, I feel like these are the two best additions to the Halo sandbox. I'm saying it again. I'm going to get shit. I'm sure if anybody in my team sees this, I need to think of other words to use that. I'll use a thesaurus next time. But when it comes to those two items, I think they were the best additions since the battle rifle. Honestly, like they are going to both of them individually. Are going to offer so many different layers of different things that can happen. And we're Wanderer Dutch said it. We are just in the very beginning. This is the tip of the iceberg, not just for launch, but even when launch hits, that's the tip of the iceberg for what this game is going to evolve to. And I know sometimes you talk about that and people get a little skittish. Even people on my own panel kind of get skittish about, talking about this as a platform. But I would say like the number one thing they needed to nail, and they have, is that just that foundation for the gameplay. From what they have here, you can, we've already seen some videos just based on these 4 maps and very limited options. You've seen people Spider-Manning around. You've seen, just nutty things with people like, sending rockets back at, opponents, and just ways that people are grabbing the flag, and already, and it's just the tip of the iceberg. We know there's going to be lots of other modes and things like that over time, but because of what they have and because of what you're already seeing on social media, I feel like I felt an energy when it comes to this that I haven't really felt since, I don't know.
You know what?
The 360.
Here's the thing, OBM. You're really tapping the pulse here, because one of the things you said, excitement. I understand that none of us are lining up in front of Toys R Us or The Wiz or Best Buy to get your Halo, right? We're going to be sitting home pressing a download button or a pre-install, and it's just going to download, and everyone's going to scream yay and start playing at midnight. But there is a fever pitch when it comes to Halo that I have not seen in quite some time with many OG franchises. Halo, look, I get it. I'll be the first one to say that I have personally been hard on 343 because I want to experience the same joy and fun that I had with my brother with Halo 3. And I always go back to Halo 3 because that's what I put hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours playing with Neo Mental, because that's a game that we bonded with. It's something that we played together, and we're looking forward to playing this. But there is something, you are on to something. There is an excitement, and this is just a beta. OBM.
Yeah, this is just the tip of the iceberg. And that's what I feel like, that excitement's coming back, because I think people, they got their hands on this and they were just like, oh shit, like they've actually nailed this, and even as somebody that's a hardcore, it's funny because, I admit to people, when it comes to Halo, I'm a bit of a fanboy, but I'll tell you what though, the Halo fanboys are probably the most toxic base in all of gaming. We are probably one of the most critical when it comes to this franchise, one of the most nitpicky. You still see that, right? Like the irony is that outside of like some, minor trolling here and there, that some of the most critical people or the nitpicky people are the ones that have been, invested in this for years. And I think people are seeing that, oh shit, they have that base down. And they can see this. I can see this going places, and I would say that even as a, I think sometimes being a 343, being a Halo fan over the last decade has probably been not as bad, but it's kind of like being a Lions fan. Anybody who watched the football yesterday saw the Lions lose on a
heartbreaker.
You'll go. We're used to not taking the W's, right? We're pulling defeat from the jaws of victory, and seeing that sort of thing. And so there's always this and so I think like last year when we saw Craig's face, and the fact that he didn't have any makeup on for his debut and things like that. I think all those sort of just tied back into.
They better make him either a playable character or they better have a
He has to be
backstory
in
on
there
him.
somewhere.
I hope so, man. I really
Just
do.
make him into the moon, like in the distance.
I mean, Joseph Statham did reference him. Maybe he is a character somewhere. We won't know.
It's funny because we're going to get into expectations for the single player based on this, but I have a feeling that we're going to get some of those single player story missions like the female that we saw where she was a kid and then she was saved by the Spartans and now she trains them. I think we're going to remember that rumor had broke almost 18 months ago that we were going to have all these different stories that were going to drop as free DLC, and they were going to be single player experiences for particular characters. We may see what happens to Locke. We may see other characters from the past. So we'll get to that, but by all means, continue, OBM.
Yeah. So yeah, just going back to that, this sounds crazy. I guess I do this long-winded circle the wagon, wind up for this.
My wife said I'm long-winded, so go around, circle the wagons, brother. Circle. It's
circle
okay.
the wagon. Especially when I know I'm going to come out with something that's going to sound, a bit fanboyish. But coming into this, even coming into the beta, even as somebody who's very excited, who's had this as the number one game I was looking forward to, I wasn't expecting 343 to. Before the first tech preview, I was not expecting them to be able to thread this needle between the two different sides of the community, between all the people that have just sort of dropped off because they've gone to other things, and some of those will still, will like other different segments of the first-person shooter genre. I get that. But I did not expect them to be able to solve this. I do think they've nailed this. And the more I'm starting to kind of see the potential of it, I do think, at least on Xbox, I know obviously it's not going to be able to compete with Call of Duty and Battlefield on the PlayStation, but at least on Xbox, I do see this becoming the game again, the social game. And again, I think that this December is going to be the beginning of it, but kind of knowing how they're going to continue to build out from this foundation, which I think is the best foundation they could have had to bring the bases together. The modern fans, I got fans that were really cynical on the modern side that we played Halo 5 with. They're like, oh, there's no thrusters and things like that. It's going to be too slow. And I have friends that were on the other side that really did not like the sprint. And somehow, I don't know how they were able to merge those two and go, you know what, this is going to be a lot of fun. And I'm in, and that's what I've been feeling. And I think that probably by the end of 2022, when they start bringing out some other modes, probably that we're going to, that's the other thing people can't forget about when you think about Fortnite and the fact that it launched as a dud and then all of a sudden it comes out with this mode and it becomes the biggest thing in gaming. Warzone launched months after, the base campaign. With the free-to-play model, if you got something really good and people are talking and they're sharing on social media, the opportunities in this day and age is even bigger than it was 14 years ago when Halo 3 launched. Like back then, you had to nail it at launch. Here, any day, you could pick any month of the year. If you come out with something special and it's free to play and people are sharing it on social media, it can be the next big thing. And there's just going to be opportunity after opportunity.
Yes.
And that's again, that's what's got me so excited. They nailed the things that they needed to for now. And I think they can go anywhere from here.
I absolutely agree. Real quick, I want to shout out a good friend of yours, potentially, Basement Radio Arcade Podcast's voice. You know him as Enrique. He drops a $5 super chat and says, OBM and I played Halo Infinite last night. Good times. Reminds me of playing Halo 2 with him over 17 years ago. You guys are longtime buddies. That sounds, and again, that's awesome. That's what's awesome. Is seeing old time friends come back in a big way to play games that just made us the gamers that we are, and hearing that story is awesome. Thank you for being here, our good friend, and of course, thank you for sharing. I mean, that's obviously Enrique is a good friend of this show and the subtle voice of the Basement Radio Arcade Podcast. But let's get Tempest on. Now, Tempest, unfortunately, due to real life, he didn't get a chance to play. But I still want to get what you saw on social media and what your personal expectations are for Infinite, because you play multiplayer and you're actually quite really good at them. And I know you used to open up and say you shoot people in the face, and you still do, and you probably are going to do that really well in this game.
I hope so.
Where are your expectations based on what you've seen, and your opinion on the fever pitch that has been the community over the last 3 or 4 days?
Well, the pitch is I listen to a lot of podcasts. I'm by myself all day. I have an earbud in my ear all day. And although I love music a lot, I can only listen to the same songs 600 times. So I listen to podcasts all day. So you name it, I've probably listened to it. And even people that always, and I mean like always, sway. When I say sway, you know what I mean? They sway towards like Nintendo or PlayStation or whatever. It doesn't matter. Halo is Halo, and they all have that same experience that we just got from that super chat from Brat. They all have that experience. I've had that experience. Everybody on this panel has had that experience. And the general sentiment I'm seeing from everybody is it's back and it's better than ever. And what shocks me is probably the hardest thing I think any developer could ever do. This is something that musicians can't do, is bring the old feeling back properly.
Yes.
They can't do it. They just can't do it. They're never going to make a Star Wars trilogy that feels like the original. Nobody can do it. Well, I think 343 managed to bring Bungie Halo back, and I think they're managing to please the fan base that stuck with Halo and actually enjoyed 4 and 5. I enjoyed 4 and 5. I enjoyed the single player and multiplayer of 4. I know I said it. I loved the 4's multiplayer. I really liked 5's multiplayer, and the campaign was so-so. I wasn't playing as Chief, so why was I playing? That's how I felt. So that's my biggest thing is they managed to meld both of them apparently very well, and it's nothing but pure excitement. I really haven't seen, and I mean this, I haven't seen one person, I mean, besides some of the morons on Twitter, I haven't really seen one person be like, yo, this sucks or this isn't working for me. Not one. I've seen complaints about the PC performance, which hopefully will get ironed out. And normally it does, like in the last month of development. That's what they finally start doing once the game is done, is they work on that stuff. So hopefully that'll get taken care of. But it's looking extremely promising. As far as how it's going to do this holiday, you have, I don't know, I guess this has happened before, maybe in 2007. I don't know. But we have all three: Battlefield, COD, and Halo launching. And I've never seen COD in a more pitiful state, and I mean pitiful. I haven't seen one thing about that game that excites me at all, except maybe Laura Bailey being a voice actress, and she's great. That's about the only thing I can say, right? It honest to goodness looks terrible, terrible. Battlefield 2042, if you were to ask me what I'm more excited for, I'm going to be honest with you and just say Battlefield. I'm more of a Battlefield guy. They're two different types of genres. I mean, they're both first-person shooters, but they're two different types of games. They play completely different. Even the big team battle modes with the vehicles and whatnot, it's still completely different. The sandbox is totally different, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know. It is possible for both of them to thrive. As far as with what I just said, though, COD is just that thing. There's people that don't even know what the new COD's going to be about. They just know it's a new year or another year. There's another COD. COD is still going to be in the top sellers, unfortunately, because it looks like it's awful, but it's still going to be there in the top sellers. So I really don't know. I think if there ever was a time for COD to be dethroned, it is this year for certain. And the free-to-play model, like I have friends personally that just it being free-to-play is going to do what Apex did for our, my group of, in real life friends that are down here in Florida. And it was just, everybody just downloaded it. No questions asked. It was just, it's like, oh, download. Okay, I can do that, So that's what this is going to do too. As long as they keep the cosmetics rolling and the cool things to unlock, things to try to achieve, I think this is going to blow up. I'm more excited for Battlefield 42 or 2042, but I honestly do think Halo is going to take the #1 spot this year for sure.
Well, I think the distinct advantage we talked about earlier is free to play versus buying. Like COD is going to sell, right? But I think that them going back to the 50s is a massive mistake.
That's a mistake.
Right?
Yep.
And 42, meaning Battlefield, people have been, people wanted a modern Battlefield for years, and they're finally getting it. The difference, though, is that we're getting two powerhouses, and I say two because it should be three, but Call of Duty is listen, it's gonna fall short. People are gonna buy it, they're gonna play it, they're gonna be like, this sucks. It's 1950. I gotta rack these weapons 100 times, and it's boring. Bye. Right, and they're gonna move on. Whereas now, I think that the two heavyweights in the conversation is going to be 42 versus Halo Infinite. I really think there's going to be going back and forth,
and they're both going to be associated with Xbox. Let's be honest.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, because they both have the marketing for both. But at the same time, one is free and one you have to buy. And listen, let's call like it is. The money is hard in a lot of homes. And if you're asking people to invest in a game that's $70+ and if you want to buy the very deluxe edition for $100+, or you're going to play this new Halo game and it's free to play, and all you see, there are a lot of people that don't care about the single player. Like you're going to buy that unless you have Game Pass. You don't have to buy anything. Everything's packed in there. But the free to play model may be a big part of the conversation, and one that I think wins the day for Halo. Let's welcome in, of course, Everborn Saga.
Hey, can I make a
Slender returns?
Can I ask a? Oh, I'm sorry. I just want to ask a real quick question. It can be just like a yes or no. Do you think Halo, in order to maintain, not achieve, but maintain that #1 spot, I think it's going to achieve, does it need a battle royale?
No. No. I don't think it does. Listen, options as gamers is great, right? But I think that Halo, and we'll do the round robin to everybody before we get to Everborn's opinion on it, and whether or not KS Hunter thinks he's a fraud for pretending that he was playing against humans, but it was bots. I don't think it does. And the reason why I say that is because it doesn't need to be an Apex Legends. It doesn't need to be a Fortnite or a Call of Duty Warzone. It just needs to be Halo. And if it has Capture the Flag and it has Slayer and it has all the other modes plus whatever we don't know,
big team battle,
big team battle. And again, we don't know what the size is going to be. Back in the days, it was 12v12. I'm assuming that it's going to potentially be bigger because it's going to be helped with the cloud. We could get 25 on 25, 28 on v28, maybe even 32 v32. We don't know. They haven't said anything. They're not speaking. We're gonna know soon enough, but I don't think it needs to. Asante, what's your opinion on that?
No, I don't think it needs it either. I do think they'll do it, but I don't think they. Well,
someone will do it in Forge for sure.
Yeah, exactly. It can easily be done, and I think it'd be a wasted opportunity if they didn't do it. I remember a long time ago. I don't remember how long ago this was. Very long ago, when somebody asked them about it, they went, "The only BR we care about is battle rifle." And this was years ago, and my brain went, "Okay, let's bookmark that. That's going to age very badly." I knew it was going to do it, and it's going to age badly. They need to put a battle. Do they need it? Of course not. We all agree that Halo has what it has. They're going to bring out all the grief ball and all the weird stuff that they used to do before. They're going to do all that again. A battle royale will be very at home in this format, and I think they're going to do it at some point. They may not do it right away, right? Because they want to differentiate themselves, and rightly so. But it's a good mode. It's become a mode that's established in this kind of game, and this game is ripe for it. I don't think they're not going to do it. I think they're definitely going to do it.
Yeah, I agree. Let's get Wondering Dutch. What did your, because you jumped in, you said no immediately. Where do you fall on this?
Yeah, they don't need it. They don't need it. They'll do it. Of course, they'll do it at some point. I don't think it'll be top priority. I think Battle Royale, again, it's an okay game mode, but I think it's, for the most part, Battle Royales as a subgenre have kind of played their section. There's still a lot of people play them, but It's nowhere near. I think the peak of Battle Royale is already surpassed. I think a substantial, steady, and enjoyable multiplayer overshadows any Battle Royale you're going to have, regardless. And the abundance of game modes they're going to have. I mean, you're not going to think Battle Royale when you've got big team battles with warthogs flying about, gunships flying overhead, rockets flying over the map, mechs walking around. When everything's in play and it is literally going ham on screen, and things are blowing up left, right, and center, and you're just trying to survive from round to round. You're not going to think about Battle Royale. You're just going to be thinking about how Jesus Christ, I'm having fun here, and I'm just like all the team, all your friends. You've got to. I mean, you're thinking whether or not, like I was mentioning beforehand, there I had a team of 4 playing, and we had an actual party with like 8 people, and we had to split into 2 groups because we couldn't get everybody into one. When you're doing them big team battles, you can get your full team of 8, 10, 12 friends, and
yes.
everybody's like jumping in at the same time and having fun, and that's a different thing altogether. It's another thing you can't do in Battle Royale because you're still in teams of 4, or you're still in teams of 2 or 3. Big team battle really pushes that notch up, and I think Forge will create whatever it wants to create. It's going to create every game mode you can possibly imagine. It's going to create some absolutely wild stuff, and I think Battle Royale itself is just going to be the last thing you think about when you're actually playing on Halo. It's going to be the last thing that you care about when you're playing this game, and I think the more people that experience the online, either before launch or at launch, will probably end up agreeing as well. It doesn't need a Battle Royale. Yeah, they'll possibly put it in somewhere down the line, but does it need it? No, it's going to be just fine without it.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. And one bad mother, let's get your opinion before we get everyone in on it. Does Halo Infinite need to cater to the Battle Royale audience?
You know, I probably won't offer anything super original from what was just said here. I don't think they need it. I've heard a lot of the discussion on the thought process about people saying that, hey, Halo needs a Battle Royale to bring in the kids, bring in all the Fortnite players and things like that. I would actually argue the opposite. I would say that, for those guys that are really into Fortnite and into Warzone and those other free-to-play modes, that's probably going to be their comfort food with that type of game. I like the fact, this goes back to what I said before, this fits a lane that without Halo, nobody else in the industry kind of hits the lane that they do. This balance between, being able to have games that are both social and and support like really competitive play like that. There's very few games that I think can kind of capture that both sides of that from the way that they do it. I do think they're going to have other modes. They're going to have bigger modes. The key right now at launch is to make sure that they get the base right. That the core Halo experience needs to be great, and they need to put all the resources and focus on that. And that's what they're doing. I think this is the smart move over time. And we're talking about a game that's quote unquote going to be 10 years. Who knows that maybe it's just going to keep on going forever, kind of thing. Obviously, they're going to build new things. When they redesigned the engine, it was meant to become the redesign was to help it become more malleable, so that they can continue to build out they can experiment with different things a lot faster. So I know this has been a 6-year process, but part of that 6-year process was really rebuilding that engine. And that's really the thing that kind of slowed down their development the most. But now that they have that, I do expect that they will, that we're going to see some crazy things in Forge, and I expect that we're going to see a bigger modes. And I think 343 would be smart to really. I expect something so really large scale, but hopefully, I'm pretty confident in this, that they'll find their way to put their spin on it. It's not going to just be Warzone with Halo guns.
I mean, I'm thinking about it straight away there, and I'm thinking obviously you're going to have the Pelicans over above, but you could also have it where, depending on where you want to drop in the map, like a Battle Royale, then you could use the ODST drop ships to kind of pinpoint an area on the map you want to go, and then you drop ships, launch you down, and fire it away. But then you've got to think how you're going to attach, like obviously armor plating. So do you start off with just a normal Spartan outfit that's kind of got certain levels, then you pick up bigger and beefier bits of armor that you can kind of clip on, and there's loads of things that you can do with it. It just depends on how big of a scale they would want to do.
Yeah, and that's the thing that's different, right? Because like with other shooters, you can build up your character over time. You get little add-ons to your guns and stuff, and so I think it translates a little bit differently. So I think that Halo's take on it should be different. I don't even know that 4v teams of 4 necessarily is like maybe the limitation. Maybe they go bigger on the team sizes and they really change that formula significantly. I think they're going to try to do something that's going to feel different. But and that's the best thing for Halo. Halo doesn't need to try to go and even listen to how Microsoft's approaching a lot of these other projects. It's not, we want to be like that project, to do our, a generic version of what that is, or just rebrand our version of that thing. It's to kind of find their own lane, right? To try to find their own niche. And so I expect that Halo is going to do something that probably we're not even thinking of right now. And who knows what that is? Maybe that is just, maybe that is just like bigger teams, right? Like, instead of 4, maybe you go like 8 teams of 8, and you just really pack everything. Or maybe they with all this bot technology, they got now the AI advancements. Maybe they do something really interesting there. Take what they had. I wasn't a huge fan of Halo 5's Warzone. I know some people were, but I could see them maybe taking the base of that and reimagining what that was a bit. So that could be another thing too. But we'll have to wait and see on that. But yeah, I don't think it needs it. Definitely does not. It's nice to see somebody really putting all their energy and focusing on this core experience that going back to what we're saying, it feels like we haven't had something like this in quite a bit of time, that at least not on a big scale. And it's nice to have an arena type thing on a big, that's got a lot of hype behind it again, a lot of community that'll be there.
You know where it is as well? I really love, like, my favorite weapon already, and it's a power weapon, but my favorite weapon so far is the commando. Like, that commando is an absolute beast of a weapon.
Yes.
I wish that was just a normal weapon, but it's not. It's a power weapon, and I can understand why, because it is that can break down armor really quickly.
I still like the BR. It's like all this stuff. I just want to pick up the BR.
Yeah, no, personally, I love what they did with the Needler. They made the Needler really effective. And as you can see, it's one of my favorite. It's my go-to weapon, as you see in this video. But before I get to Everborn, let me thank 2 people. The RNF drops a $2 super chat and says the Halo hype killed the Wolverine hype instantly. Yeah, you know what's funny? I think both platforms are going in different directions. Not that one is wrong and one is right. I think that Sony is going to double down on their AAA, type of games. Specifically, we just got some new information, and I'm writing the story for Friday morning's Breakfast with Boom. Apparently, there's a rumor, and again, it's a rumor, folks. So we'll talk about it on Friday morning's Breakfast with Boom. There is a multiplayer Marvel game coming to the PlayStation 5, which is pretty interesting. We don't know what type of multiplayer game it is, but we're going to talk about that on Friday morning's Breakfast with Boom. I'm writing that story right now. And getting back to the hyping move, I just think that's just gaming in a vacuum. The Wolverine and Spider-Man 2 really enveloped. I mean, it took me over because I'm such a big MCU and Marvel fan. Not just in the movies. I'm a big comic book fan of Marvel and have been since I was a kid. So, I obviously went on a little bit of a tangent where I still think that they should probably get in that, genre. But again, we're not going to go down that path. But I think that the Halo hype is real. And I think that what you're starting to see is, regardless of platform that you currently like, regardless of whether you're a single player or multiplayer fan, there is something for you here. And I think that is going to be the conversation come this fall, where Microsoft might find themselves having several games in the Game of the Year talk, and Halo could potentially be one of them. Not just because one mode is going to be good. We have the potential to, and it appears, we're going to talk about single player momentarily. If they hit on both, if they deliver 23 maps day one, everything is running, people are playing Halo like they haven't played since Halo 2 and 3, and the single player hits like Halo 3 and Reach, you're going to have people talking about they delivered not just on one mode, but on two. And this should, in fact, be the game of the year 2021. But again, it's premature. But
you know what I want to add to that as well before you go on? I think personally as well, I think both the devs behind Battlefield and Call of Duty will be looking at this tech flight and the hype and the sheer talk that's gone behind it, not just from the community, but also the press and all of the different journalists. I mean, it's like Forbes and everybody just said, like, it's hit it out the park. Like, it is absolutely hit it out the park, this tech flight. And they'll see that hype, they'll see the noise surrounding Halo, and they will be sitting back and thinking, we really need to do something. We really need to do something because we are in trouble. If Halo does hit it out the park like a classic Halo can hit it out the park, and it's on track to do so from what we've all played so far. If it does hit it out the park like that, then they have some real work to do to pull that crowd back, because it's, especially like I say, with it being free to play, it's just insane.
Yeah, 100%. Absolutely. Real quick, Danny Passion Official drops an outstanding $5 super chat and says, "Happy birthday, Boom." Well, thank you for that, sir. Definitely appreciate that. I got my new TV a while ago. Now, thanks to my daughter for forcing me to upgrade from a 2019 TV to a 2021 TV. And yes, you got the best one on the business, brother. A C1 OLED 65, and apparently it is fire with the Xbox Series X. Yeah, I'm teetering, folks. I don't really buy I usually stick with Samsung, but I don't know. I might have to force myself. But let's welcome in Everborn Saga. What's up, dude? How the heck are you? Did you get a chance to play? What are your thoughts of the beta? And what were your thoughts? And I know that you were in a lot of spaces that you kind of walked out of there scratching your head. Talk about the social aspect of how Halo really did take over. I mean, I'm not talking about the fraud alerts. Hashtag King is the man. I'm talking about people who actually play video games instead of playing Twitter. Halo was the talk of the town. First of all, what are your thoughts on how excited the community was? But more importantly, how was your experience with the flighting?
Before I get into that, I'd just like to apologize for being late.
Oh, stop!
As it turns out, it's pretty difficult to have a full-time day job plus owning two businesses.
Yeah, sure.
Who would have thought?
The day, brother.
Who would have thought it?
But aside from my entrepreneurial troubles, Halo. I mean, look. 3 words, Halo is back.
Yes,
right.
Indeed.
And it is a sight to behold, because if you're a Halo fan, the last year has kind of been rough, right? Because the year before you were expecting it to come and you were hyped for it, and then the whole brute who shall not be named thing happened. And then there's been a year of concern trolling and a million discussions and articles and everything being spun into what it is. And it is so, like, I just want to shout out the 343 for a minute, right? Because I know that they got to be looking at some of this stuff. And you know what it's like to go to work every day and hear you suck and you should be fired and you should be replaced. Like, think about if somebody came over to your job while you were packing bags at the supermarket and came to you and told you how terrible of a person you were. You didn't deserve to have your position.
How dare you pack my eggs with the milk? Fired.
No. I mean, think about this, right? They're human beings, and in spite of all of this, people who, I don't care what they're talking about, they want it to. They demand better and they want it to be good. You wanted Halo to fail, and you can't stop Halo, right? So let's be clear about that. Now, I was so surprised, and I'm gonna cover my camera for one. No, just come. It's okay. Come on. All right. Well, anyway. Okay, you come in.
There we go.
The missus brought me dinner, so it's anyway.
Nice.
Very nice.
Anyways,
Yeah, Mrs. Boom didn't want to go on camera. She's like, "Yeah, I'm not going on camera. You better. I'm moving over to the side. Shut the camera off."
that's exactly what just happened right now.
I know. I know. I live it. So
No, but I gotta tell you, I'm playing this thing, and it all I kept thinking is, my God, the fun we would have had in college with those LAN parties we used to do, right? They have managed to retain the feeling of old Halo, but bring it up to today's standards. And they're not subtle changes. They seem subtle, but the way that they've nailed the way the weapons feel, the equipment. You want to talk about the everybody's talking about the grappling hook, which is my favorite, but a close runner up is the repulsor, right?
dude, I
If
was saying
you
that
have
weren't
ever
here.
had a warthog rolling towards you and
Yes.
you hit them with the repulsor because they thought they was gonna run you over, this is like this. I'm telling you, this is something special, and no amount of talk or anything can change that. Anybody saying that they are concerned about Halo was not in the flight. I'm just convinced about that now. So, and as to the battle royale question, I think you don't need it right now. You don't ever really need it, but I think they introduce it when they can put their own spin on it, where it can differentiate itself from all the others that we all have options to. So when they can put a Halo spin on a battle royale, you'll see it and it will come up and it'll be a big thing in one of the seasons, right? So we know season 2 is co-op and whatever else they have going on. We know season 3 is the Forge. You know, season 4 could be, maybe that's where you bring in battle royale, or later on down the line. This is a service-based game, right? And the thing that I want to understand is, I hope that they introduce raids from Destiny, because I would love to have these.
Well, you know what it is. The funny thing is they showed that off in big team battles, how they've got vaults in the big team battle arenas where you can unlock doors with your avatar, and that unlocks powerful weapons and things like that, and like power weapons. So there is an opportunity for them there to really maximize that. Put these raids on a big map and get you unlocks or extra XP or things like that. But I think there's a real possibility for it.
I hope, because they're doing sort of the hub world, with the campaign. I hope there's some form of the multiplayer where you can kind of still traverse that map. I don't know how you'd be able.
You really want them to go all the way Destiny? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, but good. You see,
but with Halo, that's so good.
But good.
Oh boy! Don't start that slander. Stop it.
King of slander return.
I'm ready for it. No. But like, I listen. The moments that I had this weekend, this is the only thing. And right before, I was explaining this on the Gaming Circle podcast that Kay Asante and I do every Saturday morning at 10 a.m. But I have been running, and Tempest, I asked you about this. I started Scarlet Nexus, and then I heard everybody talking about Tales of Arise. Bless you.
Which I'm gonna have to buy. That game was just ridiculous.
So then I hopped from Scarlet. Well, okay, sorry. After I finished Psychonauts, I got Sonic Colors. From Sonic Colors, I said, okay, this is terrible. I don't know why I always buy Sonic games. But it's a ritual of mine. Then I went to Scarlet Nexus. Then I went to Tales, and then Kana came out, and I was like, "Oh, this is really good. I'm going to play this." And then the Flight came out, and that's what I was doing.
Nothing mattered.
Exactly. So I've been hopping into a bunch of games, and I need to sit down. I'm glad there's a little reprieve until next weekend with the Flight. So I'm going to
You
try
got
to
a week
knock
to
out.
beat Kana, my friend.
Exactly,
A week to
exactly.
beat Kana. And
So-
Kana's not easy. It's hard. So go for it.
Yeah, I know, man. I'm on that first Kappa boss, but I don't know, man. It is a great time, and this holiday is gonna be so amazing. We didn't get Forza yet. We haven't seen the campaign yet. This is a tech preview that doesn't have all the modes.
Yep.
Think about that.
I will add one little thing though. You know, everybody's saying Halo's back, and I agree. But I put something on Twitter, and I remember it, and I want to OBM people who remember and give me the good word. Please lie to me. The best Halo marketing was the Believe marketing. Do you recall the stop motion?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
If they want Halo to come back like we really want them to come back, I want Believe level marketing.
Well, hold on a minute. I would argue that the Halo 5 marketing was the best marketing. It's just that the game didn't.
That blew up in their faces horribly. That blew. I watched I listened to the podcast. It was awesome.
Yes,
and it all blew up in their faces.
Yeah.
Think about how hype everyone was around the time Halo 5 launched. I don't remember. It was fever pitch level because it was like Halo in the next generation.
But they sold people a bad bill of goods on that one though. That's why it felt pretty bad. You know. But the Believe one was just like, what was it, a minute and a half of stop motion awesomeness that got people all riled up. That was the biggest marketing thing for Halo 3, and that was like the biggest thing of its time. It doesn't have to be one or the other. I'm just hoping that they spend that they really, even back when we had issues with them, they should do this or they should do that. One thing they did well, even back then, was they knew how to market their games. That was the same time during the Mad World Gears of War stuff. Yep. They really knew how to get people like, oh my God, I need this thing. I'm looking for that level of marketing from them for Halo 3, for Halo Infinite. It pretty much markets itself. It's the biggest monster out there. Everybody knows it. But I really want Microsoft to just put their foot down and do something amazing in the marketing department.
They need two advertisement type of campaigns for Halo. They need a punchy, fun, like ridiculously over the top multiplayer campaign like trailer. Mm-hmm. Then they also need like a more of an in-depth story, a bit like you mentioned with the Gears Mad World.
The Mad World one,
the Mad World. That one just sticks with everybody because you just remember it like straight off the bat. And you need something
watch
like
the Belief
that
one. It's really good. Like the Belief one, even though it's been a long time and people forgot about it, Belief one was awesome. Like, wow, chills when you watch that thing. You know, it's right up that Mad World alley. I hope they really stick to something like that again. You know?
Yeah, so they need one for each.
Here's a question for everybody. How long do you think before they hit 10 million players?
That shouldn't be long with it being free to play.
That's funny. It's free to play. So I mean, look, I put it to you this way: it's going to launch in December 8th, right before the holiday. And I know that listen. I'm a big proponent. I love it would have been so epic to have it launch on the 15th of November. It's the 20th anniversary of the first, a Halo. And I like specific dates like that. But if you think about it, it is launching at a pretty good time because as we get closer to the holiday season, people are going to be home. People are going to be playing. I would dare say that it's going to hit 1 million to even 3 million before the end of the year, almost like a snap of a finger, because it's free to play. It's Halo.
I think it's going to do 1 million the opening weekend.
100%. I absolutely agree. I would even dare say we could see 5 million before the end of the year because everyone, listen, I don't care if you're a Call of Duty fan. I don't care if you're a Battlefield fan. Halo is going to steal the headlines from everything.
Real quick.
Yes, sir.
Apex Legend reached 2.5 million players in a few days.
Okay.
It reached 10 million players in under a week.
That's what I was going to say.
Halo will get there?
I think it's going to hit. So. I think it's going to hit 10 million players this year. The reason I'm just using regular basic statistics. I mean, there's 10 million people that have played Master Chief Collection on the PC alone. Mm-hmm. So unique players that have played it there. So you think about it, that's a game that you either had to subscribe to Game Pass for and then download, or you had to buy. And this is going free to play. A lot of that PC base is very enthusiastic. I think people very underrate what that's going to what that's going to do to the community, especially when Forge comes out. Even as somebody who will not play crossplay with mouse and keyboard people, I do think they're going to add a lot of energy to the community and a lot of maps and different ideas and things like that. But I'd say between the two, yeah, I would honestly be taken. I'd be surprised if they don't hit 10 million unique players before the end of the year, before the new year. So that's just me. But I think the base is already installed, and you're not even asking them to pay anything for it.
I also feel like if you know about Game Pass enough to subscribe to it, you know about Halo, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you know about Halo if you have a Series X because he's on the box, but
people are gonna try it. They're gonna be home for the holidays. There's going to be a little. This is enough. It's giving enough room to breathe after Call of Duty and Battlefield. That it should have. It's really got the runway laid out for it, and especially if Call of Duty doesn't nail the landing, people are just going to try it. If nothing else, just to say they can be part of the conversation, even if they're not a Halo fan, just so they can say why they don't like it. So I think the 10 million may even be conservative in terms of you compare it to Apex.
Did you say people are going to hate play it so that they can zoom in 400% and try to make screenshot comparisons?
Yeah,
that might be 1 million players right there. But anyway,
that banana doesn't peel when I shoot it.
But they guess what though?
Apart.
Hold on. But guess what though? They count towards the numbers, don't they?
Yeah. They sure do. So all the hate playing is going to be all for naught because you're really contributing to the numbers. But listen, we are closing in on the 2-hour mark, and I do have a final question for each individual member. And obviously, we might have talked about it in the opening, but I have to ask the panel individually. And we're going to start first with OBM. Obviously, he is our special guest. My question, quite simply, is with Call of Duty Warzone, Apex Legends, and Fortnite looming as a direct competitors to Halo Infinite's free-to-play conversation, how likely is it that Halo being Halo, and people have wanted Halo to come back in a big way, especially a lot of old school players, can we see a significant members of those audiences leave those games to come back to Halo?
Yeah, this is an interesting question because I was just talking about this yesterday and with somebody, and I feel like the BR, the Battle Royale, even though it's just a first-person shooter mode, in a way, it's almost like its own genre. It's like a subgenre of a genre, right? And so but the thing to think about there, those, not everybody goes to those for the same reason. Some people like the intensity of the Battle Royale, like the kind of sneaking around and hiding out. It has a very unique identity that really doesn't overlap the core Halo experience that much. But there is a lot of people that go there because that's where their friends go. That's what everybody's talking about. And that's, and that's one of the reasons why I'm so bullish on where this franchise is going again, because I do think people, number one, people who have not been invested in Halo for the last few years, I think they grossly underrate the tools they have for social play, for like when you get into, like me, I had a group of guys that I would hang out with every week, and we just do crazy stuff in Forge. People just come up with weird, game modes, and it would just be people just, laughing their butts off, and that was just in 8v8 modes. I don't think you could go any bigger than that. Now that you can really widen that net, and we don't know what that final number is going to be. We suspect it's going to be pretty high with Forge and things like that. Again, over time, I do think that this could take a lot of the people that go to those other platforms for the social aspect of it may come over here, especially because I do feel like there's the one thing Halo does, and I actually would say it does better than any other first-person shooter, is that it has something for the the newbie that doesn't really is not really hardcore, that's not really good at shooters. You can create different modes and things that makes it fun for them, all the way up to the super competitive level. And I think because of that range, I think from a social standpoint, it's gonna grab people over there. I don't think it'll make people quit Battle Royale, but I do think people are gonna add this in, especially since it adds. Again, it's got its own identity, and I think it actually complements those other games pretty well. As one thing, just something that to kind of change it up. And to answer your question, I know I'm circling the wagons again, but it does. I think it will. I think it will grab some of that base, because a lot of that base is built off of that mind share and social aspect, and a lot of hardcore long-time first-person shooter fans are going to go over here, and they're going to bring some of their friends with them. So.
Yeah, that's a great point. Kay Asante, let's get to you, brother. I know that we talked about paid versus free, but now we're talking about free versus free versus free versus free. So now we start talking about, well, people are invested in Apex. People are invested in Call of Duty Warzone. People are invested in Fortnite. Though I think OBM really did strike a chord when he says Halo has its own identity. It has its own feel, and it does seem like the king of shooters is back. I mean, again, that mileage may vary. That's my opinion on it.
Yeah.
Where do you feel Halo is going? Well, not so where. What do you feel Halo is going to do for the fan base that is invested in these three other platforms? Do you think we could see significant people move back to Halo being maybe their first foray into multiplayer?
Honestly, I think that will depend on certain moves that 343 makes.
Okay.
Is the pump primed for that? Hell yeah, it is. Right? As OBM has correctly pointed out, there are some parts to we have never seen a battle royale in Halo, but you can kind of tell that it would work. Right? You can see that they have their own identity, but you can tell that it would work, right? It's just a situation of how do they differentiate themselves, as Everborn has said. It needs to be a differentiation. It can't just be a clone of Battle Royale, because that will just clown it, and it would lessen the brand itself,
100%.
and be like, this is just a copy, right? So in order for them to hit on the cylinders they should be hitting on, it should be a differentiated, hey, this is our version of it. And they've been very well in doing that in the past. So I have no doubt that they will come up with something unique to let it shine and put Halo's spin on it. I really would like to see a battle royale mode in Halo, just to see what they do with that. I'm not the hugest battle royale person. I think battle royale, you're right, it's a subgenre. It's been a little overdone, right? It used to be its own genre, and then people went, we went too far. Let's just add it to existing games rather than making its own game of it, right? That's when PUBG kind of lost its steam. It's still big out there, but it's not as the tip of the spear as it used to, because it was its own game, right? Now it just become a part of other games. I honestly think the best example, the best competitor here, for some reason, and I don't play it much, but from what I've played, it gives me that a very similar vibe, is Apex Legends, right? Apex has that team play. They added their own spin to it, just like Halo does, right? Obviously, Apex has the heroes that people are really big on and all that. So does Halo. It's just only the hardcore fans know the difference between Blue Team and all the variant. You know what I'm saying? Like the pump is primed there. It just depends on how they execute, how they differentiate themselves in the market. I would genuinely like to see what they do, but I think, you're absolutely right. If they do it right, hell yeah, they'll peel some people off. They won't peel everybody off, right? Because Battle Royale becoming that subgenre has given rise to lots of different kinds of Battle Royale. You got the goofy stuff with the Fortnite. You got the intense stuff with other genres, right? And they all are considered quote unquote Battle Royale. But at the end of the day, they fulfill a different need based on your age group, the type of intense game combat you want. That hardcore player base is where I see Apex cultivating more and more of. And in that world, if these guys strike the iron hot enough and they do a good job, I can definitely see Apex lose people to Halo Infinite, especially considering they're both free to play and all that. There's a lot of what are they going to do to get them there in it, right? And it's not a foregone conclusion, but I can see if they do it, I really do see that there will be a potential for grabbing some of that market share back. We'll see what they do to get there. I'm interested. I want to see it. I want them to convince me, Mr. Non-Battle Royale guy. Maybe I'll jump in and play, And real quick, to a point that I think OBM was saying as well, how to get new people in. That is one big problem with Halo. That's always been a problem with Halo. I've said this on this show a few times. I've been playing that campaign for years now, with like double-digit years I've been playing it, especially with Halo MCC. I have been on that hunt for all the achievements for years, right? But I barely play the Halo MCC multiplayer. Why? Because as good as it is, and it is still right now, it is. If you want the best Halo experience without Halo Infinite coming out, go get your Halo MCC. It is the best experience. But the matchmaking is dreadful.
Yeah.
Dreadful. Oh my God, it's dreadful. Like Mag says, the minute they see his name, esports players show up, just like me. It's the way it is. It's almost like they don't know how to, hey, we're looking at your stats. You might not be at that level. Let's match you with somebody who's also at your level. They haven't figured that one out.
Just like, we're looking at your stats, so we're going to put you up against the number one in the world.
Exactly. That's one thing that these multiplayers have done very well since Halo, and they've been very good at matchmaking. Halo has never really been great at matchmaking, and that's what kills people off the multiplayer train quickly, because the minute you throw them in there with ringers, you lose the thread, and then everybody's back to the bots, right? So OBM, please speak to that. I'm hoping that there's some changes there.
No, I think you bring up a really, really, really good point. I mean, I've never been able to get into Gears for the exact same reason. No matter what level I can, beat the campaign on the highest level myself. But when I go online, it's just like
you get completely trounced right away.
Yeah,
that's right.
It is. It's just basically.
It's a wall hoppers.
I block shotgun shells with my face all day, and that's still fun. But the one thing I would want to mention to that, one of the reasons why I think you run into that, and why you're even going to run into that now, is that especially for the older games, the people that are left are the sweatiest, most competitive players. There's not a lot of newbies. And these are guys that, probably take a bath, once a week, things like that, so they can play Halo. And I was one of those at one point in time. But so I understand. But the thing that's going to happen is, because of the free-to-play aspect of it, I think you're going to see a lot more newbies. And then the other thing, we didn't really spend a lot of time on this, but and that's why I wanted to jump in, is the training mode, I think is the next level with the way
awesome.
The bots.
It's so good.
You can scale them up. They, with the exception of some glitches, they do glitch out here and there. Overall, they play better than any bots I've ever played. I think that's going to bring, first of all, somebody could just play bots if they wanted to. Number one.
Yes.
And number two,
I see him going.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with that. Because
no, not at all.
When you play campaigns, you're playing against bots, right? You're playing.
That's right. The whole campaign is nothing but bots. So there you go. That's right.
So, but doesn't this tell you how good the campaign is going to be from playing against those bots?
That's the other point I won't have time to talk about. But so keep that in mind. It's going to be a much bigger base because it's free. You're going to have a lot more fodder for us to shoot at, and then there's the training aspect, the onboarding, I guess is the way I can
the onboarding. Exactly.
Is going to be probably the
it's
best.
So important now.
Yeah.
The Halo has always been, hey, you got to get good, man. That's the whole dude bro shooter thing that Microsoft has as their narrative started with Halo, right? Halo helped create that narrative. So I think at this point,
but Gears cemented that though, right? Like I was just gonna say, and people think
no
that
neck
Halo
Gears definitely cemented it.
People think that like the Halo community is bad. Wait till you talk to some Gears people.
Yeah, some gearheads, indeed.
Yeah. I feel good that Coalition is able to just like take a breather from them being down their necks for a second, and then they can get back into it. But man, You want to talk about tough communities.
Mm-hmm.
That
No,
Gears
I hear
community,
you. 100%.
That's a rough crowd.
All I will say is I hope, and I've played some multiplayer things here and there. As you all know, I usually tend to not be the multiplayer guy, but I hope that they put a bit more effort, as they've done in all the other aspects that we see now. And clearly the signs show that they are doing that, because I loved the training. I love the guns. I love the training environment. I hope they have their own almost pseudo campaign kind of in the training, where you're there with the captain and she's showing you the ropes and this round, that round, this go here, go there. I would love like a guided narrative through that. I think that's great, and I really hope that 343 takes like that onboarding part very, very, very seriously, because that's what keeps people from making Halo their lifelong. There's the marry game, and there's the game you just play, and then the game you're married to. People don't get married to Halo because either you're damn good at it or you just get pissed off and bounce, right? So hopefully that onboarding switches it up. But I completely agree. I think that when it comes, depending on the decisions that 343 makes, it could really change up multiplayer, Twitch gaming, viewers, game viewership, all that. It could really, really kick it into high gear, and I'm looking forward to seeing that materialize.
Yeah, 100%. Let's get Wandering Dutch, then we'll get Tempest, and then we'll get everyone the heck out of here. Wandering Dutch, where does your opinion fall when you talk about the free to play versus free to play, and can Halo, because it's a game that many of the current genres that people are into started there, fell off, and it seems like the 343 is going to find a way to bungee us back into those classic Halos. You like how I did that? Where do you fall with this?
I think I've spoken about this before, and I think it was with One Bad Mother on as well previously. But it really, specifically in this modern day gaming community that we have with Twitch streamers and YouTube streamers and Facebook Live streamers and any of them, it really depends as well, specifically on how well it grasps with these big, like, shooter online streamers like your Shrouds and things like that. Like, they start picking it up and their community start picking it up and everybody sees it. And the fact that it's free to play, it means all their communities can pick it up without even thinking about it. You can just go, right, okay, I'm going to just download it. All you need is a PC or an Xbox. There we go. Or even Game Pass on your phone, sorted. So everybody can play it. There is no issues there. I think it does these days, specifically when you're talking about how Apex sits and how Halo sits and Battlefield and Call of Duty and things like that. It depends on where those streamers go as well, and they draw huge crowds with them. If they play this game and they love this game, it continues. And what I've seen specifically over the last few days, over this weekend, is a load of these FPS streamers, these shooter streamers, absolutely adore Halo. They just said, "Yeah, this is the Halo we remember, and this is so fun. Like, I really love it." And just watching them like make use of the new weapons and the repulsor, and just like I mentioned before, shooting the new harpoon gun into one of them trajectory things that you meant to just launch yourself from, and it fires across the map and shoots somebody else. I'm like, it's just the inventiveness that some of these streamers bring that get people excited to play the game and try the game for themselves. I think it is on track, currently on track with how well it's performing in terms of how well people have received it in the flighting, to be the best kind of Halo multiplayer launch it can be, and going free to play is probably the most ingenious thing that they could have done. One game that you wouldn't have expected me to compare this to in terms of how well it can do and how well it can be received, specifically over time in terms of community building, though. Have a look at Sea of Thieves, how poorly that launched and how well that community is right now.
Great point.
How much, but also how well they've supported that game throughout, regardless of how poor it was received. Like, that was empty at launch in terms of content. It's now on to its fourth season, and it is absolutely packed to the brim with stuff to do. The community is absolutely heaving. Like there is like a no end to how much they want to do with that. They not only have they got the above ground stuff going, but the next update on Sea of Thieves is going below water, so it opens up a whole new avenue for people to explore. And this is exactly what you can kind of come to expect from 343 in this long roadmap that they've got over 10 years. Is that they are going, Microsoft will fully support them, Xbox specifically will fully support them on envisioning this live service that they've got. People have a real issue with live service games because they expect them to be put, oh, it's not finished at launch. But that's not what live service means. What live service means is, here's the base content that you've got. What we're going to do is just continue to give you free stuff throughout the entirety of its lifespan that will just enhance and increase that, so we can continue to give you more to play throughout the lifespan of this particular game. And if they've got a 10-year lifespan for this isn't just including multiplayer, but also the campaign. Like you mentioned, obviously Season 2 brings in co-ops of the campaign, but it also brings in extra things for the multiplayer. Then Season 3, you get Forge, and then you get another thing for the campaign, and so on and so forth. And if it just continues like that, it is, the trajectory is looking really good for the game. And I along with OBM and a few others, I think it is more than easy enough for them, especially being free to play, to hit 10 to 15 million by year end in terms of actual players. Because you've got, for the first time ever, launching simultaneously on both PC and console. That's not including cloud, but you've got PC and console simultaneously. And as OBM mentioned before, 10 plus million players on MCC alone, just on PC. And that has only been out a couple of years. Well, I think it's 3-4 years now on PC. Maybe it's not even that. That is insane. And that's just PC, let alone console. And PC players have been dying to get even Halo 5's multiplayer on there for a long time, and they still haven't got that. So to get Halo Infinite at launch on PC is a big deal, a really big deal. So I think in terms of numbers, in terms of longevity and how well that game does at launch, there's a number of factors that it's going to contribute to its successfulness. First of all, how well it's received. Second of all, the big streamers and how well they receive it and how much they push it on their streams. And last but not least, the fact that it's going on to multiple platforms at launch, and primarily that big PC player base, because that is going to be a big one.
Yeah, absolutely. And great stuff as always. Tempest Sun, you are our resident multiplayer, but a lot of people don't know how good you are in Halo. For you, because, obviously you've played Apex Legends, you've played Call of Duty Warzone, obviously you've played Fortnite, whether you still do or not is relevant. How does Halo fare against these other free-to-play games? Can it steal a lot of the fan base away from these games and bring them back to the king of shooters?
Yeah, that's kind of why I asked the question to the panel earlier about the battle royale thing, because that craze started in about 2017. I wouldn't say it's anywhere near like it's like Apex, if you will, no pun intended, but it what that did was, it was such a new genre to the shooter. There is entire YouTube channels, streamers, you name it, that kind of like created new fans to the shooter genre, period. And there's many people that's all they play, including some people that have incredible amounts of like influence, if you will, whether they should or not, is irrelevant. They do. And so I don't know. It's not going to have that at launch. That's why I said I believe it's going to hit the top spot. I have no doubt about that. But is it going to be able to maintain it and keep it? I don't know. I let's see, when Gears 5 came out, and Gears 5, let's be honest, it's one of the pillars of Xbox. But as far as popularity goes, I'd say it's like half as popular as Halo, maybe, if that. And I think Gears 5, its first weekend, had 3 million players. Yep. Which is pretty big. I mean, I eventually got way more than that, but so just from that alone, I think it's going to be pretty huge. I don't know, man. I think it'll have 10 million plus. maybe in the first week. I know that sounds like lofty, and I think Apex did it, but I see this possibly being more than that, man, especially because it's crossplay. I mean, shoot, you're going to be able to play the dang thing on a phone. So, like, no matter who you talk to, if you just say, hey, play this with me, if they're willing, they're going to have a way to play it, you know?
Yes.
And
Yes.
the crossplay thing, I think, is probably a bigger deal because, like my example, I have a cousin named, a nephew named Hunter. And as soon as he bought that first PC that was able to run something more than, Minesweeper or whatever, he just became a PC only dude. That's the only thing he wanted to play. I'd ask him many times. I'm like, hey, man, you want to play this with Courtney and I? And he'd be like, is it on PC? Is it crossplay? I'm like, no. And he's like, all right, well, I can't. He'd literally be a stickler like that. Well, now, like this example, I mean, that's just one person, but there's literally no excuse now that there's crossplay and it's going to be launching on PC. So I don't know, man. There's been evidence that I think Halo can do fantastic on just PC alone. I mean, Master Chief Collection was the top seller on Steam for how long? And it maintained that. They have a legitimate, extremely large fan base just on the PC platform. So, I think it's going to hit ridiculous numbers, to be honest with you. The sky is pretty much the limit. We might be shocked. All right. We're sitting here speculating that it's going to do very, very well, but we might not know how well it actually could do. I'm actually kind of really excited to see where it's going to go. And if this hits big, I said it before, that moment where Game Pass, even though it's going to be free to play, but just because of how popular it is, that moment that Game Pass really like surges. And the next time they give us those figures, we're going to be like, holy crap, where did all these subscribers come from? It might come from this because all eyes are going to be on it. And if it is that successful, dude, this is the only thing you're going to be hearing about is Xbox. Yeah, that's it. That's all. Nothing else is coming out relatively soon. The only other things are the other two shooters. And, it's just going to be all Halo all the time, all Xbox all the time. And they're not done yet, man. Just wait for the Game Awards. Like I know I know it's off topic, but they have more coming. It's an onslaught, and I love it. So.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And last and certainly not least, let's get everyone Saga's opinion on this. Obviously you've heard everyone what they had to say, but I'm interested to get your opinion. How big can Halo hit? Can Halo bring in the crowds that normally flock towards Call of Duty Warzone, Apex Legends, and Fortnite? Can they steal those gamers that might have been one time or another big Halo fans?
Here's the thing, Boom. I think you're leaving out the elephant in the room. The only players I want to steal are Destiny players.
Oh.
Let's just be clear. They haven't been happy for a while, but they got no place else to go. And I just want to say, all you guys that went over to Destiny because Halo wasn't there for you, Halo is back. And you know what? They went to school, they got a degree, they got a whole career, fixed their life up. They don't even smoke cigarettes no more. They saw that therapist you told them to go see. They fixed their whole life up just for you. And I want you to know that the chief is home. And he has home for you. Now, I think it can be huge. Like huge, like the everybody that got a Series X, right? All because it's the hardcores right now, right? Last number we got for sales was what, 6.5 million, whatever. It's probably a couple of more million sold by now. By the time December gets here, they'll probably hit 10 million, right? Especially when people know Halo and Forza are out, right? So I think the Halo is one of those franchises where almost everybody with an Xbox is going to run and get it. And that's just on the Xbox before we get to the Steam sales and the Windows Store sales, right? And then that I didn't even mention current gen sales, right? Yep. So when you put all of that together, I think this thing is, people have been waiting for it so long. It's been gone for a while. And all of this rabble rousing that we've, in the middle of I mean, I'm in the middle of it because I'm in like every damn space. Coming to those in my 3-piece suit. But the thing, I'm just trying to class up the joint, man. Somebody has to represent the gaming community.
Sure.
But the thing is, the general public has no idea about all of these false narratives things going on. The general public just knows the game got delayed, and they're excited for when it will come out. And when I'm a little surprised. I think we're in September and they haven't kicked into high gear with marketing, but I suppose that'll come in the next month or so.
I would think that as we get closer to the 20th anniversary, specifically in the month of November. I mean, I think because we're, the 15th makes the 20th anniversary of the Xbox platform. It also is 20 years to Combat Evolved. I think that if they started on the 15th and they rolled the through the holiday, it would be just enough to get people excited for what you're talking about. And I think maybe they saved that for, maybe they don't drop it on the 15th. Maybe they start rolling in deep November 1st and they roll through all of November right into December. And that's that 5 or 6 weeks you're talking about between, the start of marketing and the release. Because again, they have to, we have a console coming out. We have an Elite Series 2 Special Edition controller coming out. So that marketing is going to be deep. And I can see them rolling that with, of course, the Halo release for December.
Yeah, I haven't spent a small fortune on all of these.
No, that's all right. It's only a paycheck or two.
Or 3 with some of these things, man. Like, you got to go to these damn scalpels. But no, I think it's gonna blow everybody. I think it's gonna be the biggest game this holiday.
I agree.
Right? And you can look back. I'm gonna retweet this after the show. But a few months back, I just put out a tweet and said every time I hear somebody trying to downplay Halo, I'm just gonna reply with a short and sweet 10 million. And if you think I'm petty today, let me be right and it hits 10 million and see what I do with that tweet. So all I'm saying is I think it could be huge. I think now what are I'm not saying it's going to do Fortnite numbers, right? But what are Fortnite numbers, just for context? What are Fortnite and Warzone numbers?
Let's see. That's the question
Just
you should
like
ask me before you asked it officially.
I should have asked you before I asked.
That's right.
78 million.
Okay.
Yeah, we're not getting there yet. Give it a couple of years. It's a 10-year. We got 10 years to get there. But I absolutely think it can touch 10 million players this year, and maybe go next year go as high as 15, 25 million if they can be consistent with the content delivery and the streamers pick it up.
Yeah,
I think. And real quick to your question, Call of Duty Warzone, as of 2020, they're looking at around almost 80 million players. A little under 80 million.
I think Halo by the end of 2022 can hit 25 million.
Yeah.
If Sea of Thieves hit 15 million,
yeah,
Halo is one of the most recognized IPs in all of gaming.
That's true. That's
and Forza hit 20. Didn't Forza hit like 20 as well? I think that
Forza hit 25. I think.
Yeah. So
right.
Yeah. So, and don't forget, free to play is actually free this round, right? This is the first time.
No Xbox Live required. So again, between the ease of access, between the simultaneous PC launch, right? Between Game Pass, and between the marketing of it being a Halo game and all the Xbox guys have been waiting for it, I think it'll do 10 million in its sleep and 25 million by the end of next year, and sky's the limit after that, provided they keep the content up. And listen, I say roll out a battle royale in season 3 and roll out raids in season 4 and just keep the party going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I definitely think you're onto something. Yeah, Dutch.
Forza Horizon was doing 2 million in a week.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
Yeah,
Halo was,
they're going to do 10 million in December.
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, listen, I'm hoping for it. I cannot wait to see.
Holiday season.
Yeah, and it's going to be, you know what? It's going to be really great when the team at 343 can sit back and enjoy the holiday knowing that they have hit the mark in both single player and multiplayer, and that everyone, I mean, again, they must be reading the comments and just taking a big sigh of relief. Like I said, I don't want to say that I
But
have
don't
been.
take your foot off the brakes, though. Keep
No,
because they got to deliver that campaign.
Keep the foot on the gas for sure. But
Yep.
listen, we are going to continue the conversation regarding Halo, specifically regarding the single player campaign and what we can expect on tomorrow's new episode of the Xbox Factor podcast. That show goes live at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I want to thank the well over 350 people we had here today to hang out with us, to talk Halo. We hope that you enjoyed the show. Obviously, it's very rare that we take an entire one topic and we just roll 2.5 hours through it. But Halo is well deserving of that. And I'm glad we had a chance to do that. I want to thank all the super chats that came in. So let me get into, of course, the outros. I'm going to start first with our guest, One Bad Mother. You obviously are an incredible writer. You're an incredible journalist that tells it like it is. You work with Xbox Era, those guys over there. You have an amazing team that you work with. Please, by all means, tell them about where can people reach out to you on social media. But what else you got going on? And you got a few articles that I want you to push.
Yeah, thank you so much again, Boom, for having me on today. It's one of those weeks that's been kind of stressful last week or so, and it's been really nice to get on and just positively talk about gaming. And going back to something you guys were saying at the beginning of the show, you were talking about losing your friend and really like how gaming brought everybody together. I think that's the thing, that we need to reiterate more often is that it's really even above the gaming, it's the people first. And like when I think about the best things from the reason why I've enjoyed gaming over all these years as much as I have, it's a lot of times I think about the people that I've been involved with as well, and the friends I've made online, and so like always kind of think about that, like when you kind of leave things behind, what are people going to be saying about you? And like all the clout chasing and stuff like that is very temporary. It's really the impressions you make on people. And there's people in these communities that have made impressions on me that, behind the scenes, things like that have helped go a long way in things that just are just everyday life. And so I appreciate you guys having me on today and, being able to just really kind of feel that part of that magic, right? The part of the magic of being part of this community. So yeah, if people do want to find me, I am a senior writer over at Xbox Era. Usually though, I have when I write my articles and record myself, I have some talented people put the videos together. Usually it's John or Jesse over there. And John, you know him from the Xbox Era podcast. He's on there with Nick every week. Sometimes I've shown up there a few times, but usually I'm more invested in the writing and recording for some of these videos. So I do have a couple things in the works. I was hoping to get one out this week, but I had a rough weekend, so that didn't happen. But I'm working on one article about the initiative. There's already been some really good takes out there about that situation, explain it. I want to try to go a little bit more in depth in what, from 2018 till now, what the initiative has always intended to be and kind of what we might expect from that, at least from what they put out there. So we'll have something on that. And then also, obviously, Halo. And after next week's tech preview, I hope to have something to drop on that soon. I think there's a lot to talk about with Halo, and you're going to cover one of those tomorrow. And I think that's going to be an interesting one. By the way, if you don't see me in the chat, it's because I'm working and I just got you on in the background. But I think that's going to be a great topic to take what we've seen and connect it to the campaign. I think there's way more potential in this campaign than even going back to the 2020 demo and you start putting that with this stuff, there's a lot of potential there. So that's going to be a fun topic, and that's something that I really that I'm going to focus an article about, including some of the development, previous Halos and kind of how there's some overlaps and things like that to kind of be aware of. I think there's a lot of reasons still to be very cautiously optimistic, I could say, because obviously it's a pandemic and there's a lot of stuff out there that that can still happen. But there's good reasons to be cautiously optimistic about it. If you want to go ahead and find Xbox Era. We have forums. Our goal is to try to be the best community website for Xbox gamers and try to keep the trolling and console wars as minimal as we can. And really just keep it focused on gaming. But we have a community that's been blowing up, and if you like to go on and just kind of chat, that's a good place to go. And then I'm also on Twitter at handles at mother_1. But again, thanks a lot, Boom. Thanks a lot, panel. You always make me feel at home. You do make me feel like a panel member when I'm here. And it's
Thank
a great
you,
time.
man.
So thank you.
Awesome, brother. Well, thanks so much for being here. Kay Asante, let's get you on out of here, brother. Tell everyone about the Gaming Circle podcast and also on the reel that you do with the other guy on the other side of the panel, Everborn Saga, each and every week. And where can people reach out to you on social media?
Yes, thank you, Boom. So yes, before that, thank you, OBM, Dutch, Tempest, Mag. When even though he's not here, his voice is still heard because it's ringing in my ears. You guys always
He
fun.
is the loudest man in Canada.
Always fun. OBM, you know where the fridge is. You're no longer a guest. It's right over there. Go get it. It's all good. It's great. Enjoy you always the conversations. Specifically Halo, man. The passion is very visible, very clear. So I appreciate having this conversation with you. Yes, you can catch me and the man Everborn Saga doing On the Reel this Thursday, 8 p.m. We will be back on the Slanderous Game. I will leave him to tell you all the details of the next things we'll be talking about. I know a few of them. I'm sure he's got some others.
Disney is right.
Yeah. See, the minute you start pocket watching like creators, he stands behind the creators and not the people. But that's a different slanderous conversation for another day. You will probably catch that on the reel this Thursday, where he will defend Disney. We shall see how good that works. And then on Saturdays, And then on Saturdays, we will be doing the Gaming Circle podcast at 10 a.m. on my channel. I know a lot of community members have been tuning in, watching. Our numbers are going up. I see a bunch of people subscribe. Thank you so much. It's always fun to jump in the chat and we have crazy conversations. I suspect I can't say it specifically, but we're trying to incorporate some spaces into these shows that we do because we see that there is a very, very much a need for that. I've been trying to push Mr. BoomStick XL. That's right. I've been trying to push Mr. BoomStick XL to possibly starting something himself because I feel like voices like his is necessary in those spaces. But you'll probably be hearing that from us as well. Please follow myself, TKO Asante on Twitter. Also the Everborn Saga as well, because then when we do spaces, you'll see them, you'll be able to join us and all that. But we really appreciate you guys subscribing and joining us and keeping the conversation going. So thank you guys so much. And we'll be back next week.
Yeah, thank you so much. And Wandering Dutch, brother, why don't you talk about your incredible show that you have each and every week? Where could people check you out on social media, potentially strike up a conversation, and what you got going on with the merch coming down the pipeline?
Yes, indeed. So first of all, because you mentioned merch, shout out to Sean LeBrie for creating this awesome
He is just amazing, bro.
New Viking tee.
Oh, very nice, dude.
We got to holler at Sean, man. We got to holler at Sean.
Definitely got to holler at him.
So it's a nice new Viking tee, of course, that goes in the blue colours and the red and orange colours. It's absolutely awesome new emblem for us. It's a little bit more of an insignia as opposed to just wording, and I think that stands out a bit better. So awesome for him. So massive shout out to Sean. He always does great work. We also have a video from Patcher tomorrow, an unboxing of the Turtle Beach Recon controller for the Xbox Series S and X.
Nice.
We then also have our podcast. This week it's on Thursday, and that's because we have Alan Carranza, one of the Xbox program managers, coming on as a recommendation from David Prien.
Nice.
So Yeah, it's going to be awesome. We've got a few other kind of big guests as well in the pipeline, but as you know, trying to get some of the bigger guys takes a little bit of work.
Yep, sure does. You got to pass all those security checks.
Yes, indeed. So yeah, I'm just waiting again. As you know, you've got to wait for HR and marketing department and everybody to clear off on things. So once we've got the notifications for a few people, it's going to be quite interesting. But yes, so that'll be Thursday at 7 p.m. UK. That's 2 p.m. Eastern and 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time as well. Again, awesome. Thanks for OBM being here again with his Halo goodness. I know you do a specific Halo show every week, which is really great to get your perspective on things. And again, just to be able to dive in and just specifically talk about one topic as well in depth for everybody is great fun. And everyone's thoughts and everyone's excitement. It's just it's refreshing to get a podcast where,
for sure. Yeah, 100%.
And even just seeing the community this weekend's just been awesome because it's just been non-stop Halo. Like everybody having fun, showing clips and photos, and look at this silly kill, and look at what I've done here, and it's just been great, and seeing the same enthusiasm throughout the entire panel tonight as well, and including the chat, which has been awesome, just makes you even more excited for things to come. So hats off to the chat. Make sure you drop a like, subscribe if you don't already. Boom is the next one to hit that 10K alongside, and again a massive well done to Iron Lords for smashing through that 10K
on their own show on Sundays. ILP, which was amazing. Well deserved.
So
well deserved.
You're next, Boom. You're next. Not long now.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, listen, it's just a matter of time. And again, obviously, if you are new to the program and you enjoyed the banter, please consider subscribing. So I did see a bunch of new faces, but and obviously, if you want to help me grow and you want to help me hit that 10K, push this on social media for me if you wouldn't mind. Throw it out there. Let people know that there is a show on Monday nights that you dig. That the banter is, and we're a bunch of brothers on here. Everyone here on this panel is an extended member of my family, and that's how we treat each other, and that's how we enjoy talking about gaming. And if you like that kind of atmosphere, if you like fun, if you like respect in the conversation, and you're just tired of the hate that social media could be, consider subscribing to the channel. I think you're going to definitely dig it. But thank you for that, Dutch. Let's get Tempest son. Tempest, let's get you on out of here, brother. I know you got to get to work tomorrow. Please tell everyone about where they could reach out to you on social media. Eventually get shot in the face by in Halo, and tell them about your Gundam channel you got going on.
Yes, Boom. Thank you. It was nice being with everybody here on the panel again. It was awesome. We got to talk about Halo for 2 hours. Call that a good show to me. I started a YouTube channel, and unfortunately, as soon as I started it, life happened. So I'm still building stuff. I'm still filming footage. It's just when I finally get a chance to actually just sit down for, like 100 hours, I'll edit a bunch of videos. Exactly. You can find me at Twitter. I am at the Tempest Sun. And unfortunately, I won't be here next week, but it'll be for a good reason. I'll be on a big ass boat and having my 3-course meal for dinner. So, I'll miss everybody here, but I'll be having a good time, no doubt. Love everybody here. Thank you to the chat, and I'll see you guys next time.
Yep. Well, thank you. And we'll miss you, brother, but it's a well-deserved vacation. You and the missus go and enjoy the heck out of yourselves, and don't drink responsibly. You won't be driving. At least that'll be up to the captain of the boat. But we'll see you back the following week, dude. Enjoy your 10-year anniversary trip, brother. Definitely thank you for that. And last and no way least, someone that has a lot going on, Everborn Saga. Tell everyone about your anime that you've been working tirelessly on, where they could check it out potentially on Amazon, and where could people reach out to you and throw slander your way on social media.
I treat slander like a boomerang because it'll come right back at you. But the thing is, yes, all our books are available on Amazon, but I don't recommend Amazon unless you are international. You'll get a better deal going to everbornsaga.com. Plus, it will come signed by me, and I'll put a little bit of my own perfume in there. So it's great. It's a beautiful experience. Now, the thing is, everbornsaga.com, you can, I don't know if you noticed this new drip. Do you see this?
Very nice.
The Everborn logo snapback, and then we got this going on here. But we have all this kind of stuff on everbornsaga.com. I have a new tactic for trolls. I just I retweet with a link to the Everborn cap whenever I feel like somebody's lying. Exactly.
They capping. I see what you're doing there. I see what you're doing.
But anyway, listen, we can monetize lies, right? They're lying for free. Why don't we make some money off it? But anyway, look, Everborn Saga on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. What is the other one? Oh yeah, Xbox, PlayStation, and Steam. But this Thursday we will be doing On the Reel, and a lot of it is going to focus on the lawsuit that the creators, or the families of the creators of these characters that we know and love, the Steve Ditkos and the Stanleys and the
Jack Kirby's,
all of them,
they're all
families. Suing. Yeah, they're suing to pull the rights back for the likes of Spider-Man, the Hulk, X-Men, Iron Man, and Doctor Strange.
And if that happens, boy, PlayStation's in trouble. Oh boy!
Well, they tried. It's funny because about 4 years ago, just to kind of give people the skinny on what happened with that, they tried that with DC, specifically with Superman, and the same attorney that defended the families. What settled out of court?
Yeah, Joel Schuster.
Right.
But that was different because they didn't. And the same thing happened with Bill Finger, and that was just so that he could get credit, so it wouldn't just be Bob Kane that created Batman.
Correct.
Right.
Yes.
Because they didn't even want to say that Bill Finger was there.
It was part of it, yeah.
Right. And again, more reason about why Batman is trash. But the thing is, I am actually I understand that these guys are creators, and Disney absolutely should be giving them more money instead of just the obligatory cameo that they used to give Stan Lee while he was still with us. However, I as a creator who pays artists traditionally, at a page rate, which is what they requested, because I have asked artists hey, would you like a piece of this? No, because they basically, the business owner takes all the risks, right? So if I take all the risks and I take, and I'll do this rant later, but if I'm taking money away from my kids' college funds and all of that things to take all of this risk, and because you drew something for a rate that you negotiated, now you want to have ownership of this thing where you didn't care if I went bankrupt or not.
I hate to say this, but I'm on Disney's side with this. It's work for hire, and all of these characters were made while under that contract.
So again, Disney can and should give them more credit. The reason everybody thinks Stan Lee created all of this stuff by himself is because that's the only one that they showed. And that was, and he did not make anywhere near the amount of money that those films made. But you could have gave these other creators credit, at least put them in the film so people know them and they can make money in other things. But they didn't do that. So it's a complex thing. But I do stand with Disney, and I don't think that the rights should revert back. But they should get participation points.
They'll settle out of court at the end of the day. Anyway, they're going to get paid, the family.
So that's Thursday, and then we got a lot of other stuff to talk about. But October 7th through the 10th, Everborn will be at Comic-Con. We will be at booth.
On that, brother.
Thank you so much. And all of that happened. Listen. I came on this show. You introduced me to COG. I went on Iron Lords. I've done my own things, but all of those things are connected. So I thank everybody who has been following me on this journey. And the road ahead stretches much farther than the road traveled. So we got a long way to go, but I am thankful for every moment that we get here. So we will be there, and we will have things like this. We will have merchandise. We will have comics. We're launching a new comic at Comic-Con, so it's going to be a big deal. And we have a new series that we're going to launch just after, and there's a new Kickstarter coming. I will have more to say about that after Comic-Con. So big things happening in the world of Everborn, and I just want to thank everybody again for all your support. And Halo is back, and anybody talking shit about Halo, just say 10 million. That's all you got to say. Don't respond. 10 million, shut up. That's it. I'm done. Good night.
I love it.
Mic
Real
drop.
quick, before we, and indeed a way to close out the show. A Gamer by Choice drops a very generous $5 super chat as we get out of here. Maybe Xbox is onto something with not messing with Marvel. I mean, you just never know. But listen, folks, thank you so much for spending nearly 2 hours and 45 minutes of your evening. Thank you for understanding the first 20 minutes was a tribute to our friend that passed away, and that we hope you enjoyed this conversation of Halo. If you want to continue this conversation regarding our single player expectations, tune in tomorrow 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the newest episode of the Xbox Factor podcast on my YouTube channel. And of course, I'm going to close out the show with something that is important to me. Hopefully one day it'll be important to you. And that's something that my dad taught us when we were kids. And he said, son, treat others how you want to be treated. Also, it doesn't cost anything to be nice. You live by those rules, and I can guarantee you're going to have an awesome day. So take care, everyone. We'll see you next week on the newest episode of Primetime Gaming with Mr. Boomstick and Friends. Later, guys.